$337. Okay, I have read this. Good. Okay. FQ, Devil, how's it going, guys? How you guys doing? Alright, we'll just start off with the regular and then in a little bit, hopefully, we'll get going. How you both doing this fine morning or afternoon for you? Maybe FQ. I don't know where you're from. Apologies. Whoa. Okay. Oh no, this is. I'm gonna have to leave in a bit. Much needed haircut. Oh yeah, you're telling me, Devil. I need to get a haircut too. But since I'm leaving for a trip to see my granddad, and next week I'm gonna get it sometime late next week before I go. 4 p.m. on a Friday. 1 more hour until it's the weekend. Nice, Milos. How's it going, man? How you doing? Shit. My hair's at my shoulders and my mom keeps bullying me. Alright, fair enough. Yeah, mine hasn't gotten that bad, but my hair is... maybe you have the same problem. Like, my hair is really thick, which means once it gets long enough, I can't do anything with them, and then it just looks like I have an afro. Just a fucking mess. Wow, I'm getting cooked here. What is this? Gawain. No, mine's pretty fine. A little bit of wave. I like it longer. Oh my god, I actually don't know. Oh. Oh, I'm cooked. I can't. NUW. Newton is a 6-letter word, Kami. Doesn't work in Wordle. Oh, yes, I know how to spell Newton. God, ugh, God, you think so? You guys think so little of me? I'm offended here. What the fuck? Hold on. Okay, so I'm guessing N is at the start, or Maybe it's O OWN. Let's say it's that. I was fiddling with words, Kami. God, why are you hassling me? Come on. What the fuck, dude? All right, let's get. You know what? Fuck it. Well, I'll deal with this later. I'm gonna fuck this. I've already fucked this into oblivion. There's no chance I'm getting anything good out of it. Let's just get started, shall we? This chapter 337, the search for a missing person. Forrest flipped through the calendar on her desk and used a pen to mark the date of the upcoming full moon. She had decided that as soon as she heard the horrible, illusory raving, she would chant the name of the fool and pass the painful minutes above the grey fog. Hi, Dr. Z, how's it going? No, not late at all. We're just getting started. Life is truly filled with things to look forward to. She closed the novel in her hands, ready to turn off the iron grill gas lamp that was set into the wall. New layout is peak. Alright, that's good. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys would like it, but that's good. At that moment, a flash appeared in front of Forrest's eyes. She saw the boundless grey fog and a lofty figure that resided in a majestic ancient palace, as well as a man who was praying devoutly. When the voice reached her ears, she almost jumped, feeling both alarmed and joyful. The Trickmaster formula that I've arduously searching for all these years has been found like that? I participated in so many different Beyonder gatherings and failed to find any clues to the Trickmaster formula. And yet it was found just like that. It's not even been a week since I made the request. Try known? Oh, that's actually such a good word. Fuck, known? Oh, that's so... Yeah, that was it, devil. Holy shit, good. Fuck, that was... Thanks, bud. I kind of feel bad that was kind of cheating, though, but, you know what? Nah, fuck it. The scoreboard's not going to show it. Fuck it, I don't care. This is the Tarot Club, as expected. It's not something ordinary Beyonder gatherings can compare with. Forrest sighed with emotion and endured her excitement as she endured her excitement and joy as she cautiously responded, "Mr. Fool, is that formula authentic?" Yes. The fool, who was sitting above the high-backed chair, looked down and replied calmly. Forrest suddenly clenched her fist and secretly pumped it at her waist twice. Without any hesitation, she asked, "That was Mr. World, right? Please tell him that I will find what he needs as soon as possible." All that Quordle practice, yeah. When the grey fog dissipated and everything was back to normal, Forrest remained stunned for 2 seconds. She couldn't suppress her excitement as she stood up to pace back and forth in her room. The sun's domain, items that are good for purification and exorcism. I encountered them only twice in the past, but they were bought by others. They may not be willing to offer them again. Yes, back at Mr. A's gathering, Gio hired a devotee of the EBS to perform a purification and exorcism ritual. He's at least a sequence 7, and he should have the relevant items, or perhaps he grasps the key clues to them. I wonder how much it'll cost. Although Mr. World promises to pay the difference, I may not be able to make up the amount I need for the initial payment. Forrest's thoughts gradually shifted to her financial situation. Nightwalker, how's it going, man? She now had £370 in cash, mainly earned from the Viscount claimed had paid for the apothecary formula. She also had £510 in her bank account, which added up to nearly £900. It's so cool to think that Forrest, a weak level 9 Beyonder, has basically the same amount of money as the Almost divine Mr. Fool. As for something similar, it can go as high as £2,000, while the cheapest might run from £500 to £600. Yet, it might not necessarily be the kind of item that Mr. World needs. What if I run into a suitable item but don't have enough money? Get a loan from the bank or a loan from a usury with a higher interest rate? As long as all goes well, when Mr. World pays the difference, my debt will easily be repaid. Maybe I can borrow from Miss Audrey for a few days. She usually never cares about money, so she definitely wouldn't collect any interest. Force quickly came up with a solution. Yeah, you can't ask her for money right now. It's a tight position. Just then, Gio, who had gone somewhere secluded at night to practice her combat skills, returned to her rented two-bedroom apartment. Seeing that the lights were still on, she knocked on the door and said, "Are you pulling an all-nighter to write the beginning of your new book?" Being the best selling author pays well. Yeah, clearly she's killing it. Fours, you seem really happy. Did the publisher increase your rates? No. Fours was slightly taken aback before she forced a smile. I just received a piece of information that's a clue to the Trickmaster formula. Really? Your waiting has finally paid off. Shio totally didn't notice Fours' hidden oddity. Seeing her friend so happy for her, Fours couldn't help but sigh to herself. I'm already a member of a secret organization. From that moment forth, I've taken on a fate that requires me to constantly hide and lie to my friends. Is this the price out of many to be paid? Lyola, how's it going? Saturday morning, Klein once again visited Inventor Leopard at St. George Borough's 3rd Street. Seeing that the bicycle had yet to be patented, he only paid the last £20 and exhorted Leopard not to rush to talk about subsequent investments and partnerships until he had the patent. With regards to this, Leopard was very agreeable. He had been tricked twice before for the same reason. He's an idiot then. You get tricked once, that's a mistake. You get tricked twice. Idiot. Romero, how's it going, man? By the way, Romero, thank you so much for fixing the announcements, man. Holy shit. Before you woke up yesterday, I was like, "Oh, I fucked this." I don't know if anyone's gonna be able to fix it. It took you like 4 minutes. With regards, yes. After leaving Leopard's place, Klein arrived at Isengard Stanton's place in the Hillston Borough at the appointed time. It was a dark and gloomy house. Oh, he's gonna get some money. Fuck yeah. Today was the day for the rewards for the serial murder were going to be dispersed. Walking through the living room into the activity room, Klein saw the two detectives he was more familiar with, Kozlana and Stewart, and sat down next to the latter. Sherlock, how much do you think we'll get this time? It should be no less than protecting a dole. Of course, I didn't do much, so what I can receive will be limited. Emperor Roselle once said, "The more plowing and weeding, the better the crop." Stewart clenched his fist and held it to his bearded chin. Klein guessed with interest. The split might go as high as a few £100, and the lowest wouldn't be less than £10. I'm the one that'll get the higher end of the split. If Isengard's words were as credible as he had described, Klein added. At that moment, a white-stirred, brown-vested Isengard with white hair at his temples and a thinly contoured face entered the activity room while carrying his signature pipe. As the fireplace burned, he sat down in a reclining chair and said with a smile, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just got back from the Backland police station. They acknowledge our contribution and think we've been instrumental in cracking the case." By the way, now that I think about it, the first time we met Isengard through like Fours and Geo, I think I called him the Sherlock of this universe, which is just a funny sort of thing to stumble into now that Klein's name is Sherlock. Although we didn't participate in the subsequent capture, we can still obtain half the bounty. In other words, we'll split £1,000 in cash. This is considered quite a handsome bounty. Even in Backland, a single detective has to have 0 expenses, not eating or drinking, and even resorting to sleeping on the street for 4 or 5 years to amass this amount. Michael, thanks for popping by. How you doing? Oh, yeah, exactly. I didn't remember that until just now, and I was like, because as soon as they mentioned that he walked out with a pipe, I was like, dude, he reminds me so much of like Sherlock Holmes, and I was like, holy shit, I made this callback. Oh, that's just funny. Um, the atmosphere in the living room immediately became relaxed. Everyone was filled with anticipation about the reward they would receive. Even Klein was no exception, as he guessed the amount Isengard would give him. It should at least be £100, right? He whispered. Isengard took a puff of his pipe and said, "Everyone, thank you for your trust in me. I will now do the splitting." The biggest contributor this time was Detective Sherlock Moriarty. The ideas and trains of thought that he provided allowed us to find more clues and put us on the right track. He is a genuine expert at deduction. Ma'am Caslana can bear testament to this. I still have a few letters from the Detective Moriarty, and anyone in doubt can take a look. That's very fair. He didn't actually list himself off as the biggest contributor. Klein turned to the great detective Isengard Stettin and viewed him in a different light. It's no wonder that he has such an authority in the detective circle. See, this is another reason I think he might be the, what do you call it, the eye of wisdom, because he's so nonchalantly saying like, "Oh, I didn't do the most," and like giving Klein like a lot more money, because he could say like, "No, like we both participated the most, so like we should both get like £200 each or something," right? But instead he's saying like, "Oh no, he did the most, he can have it." No, that could just be he's a really trustworthy person. That's possible. But in LOTM, I don't know if there's such a thing as a trustworthy person, so I doubt it. So it could just be that maybe he's making such a chunk change. Oh, holy shit. He's making such a chunk of change from the Beyonder gatherings that he doesn't really need the money. Seeing that there were no objections, Isengard nodded and said, "I declare that Detective Moriarty will be rewarded £300. Immediately, the detectives in the activity room broke out into whispers. From time to time, they looked up at Klein as if they finally recognized his brilliance, whom Mr. Stettin had praised as an expert at deduction. What a generous man. Klein grinned and ultimately didn't act modestly. In second place was Isengard himself and Caslana, who each received £160, while the rest of the detectives split the remaining £380 based on their respective contributions. Even the lowest received £15, the equivalent of 3 or 4 weeks of their usual earnings. This was the benefit of handling a major case with a high bounty. Stewart, who received £40, was very pleased because he felt that he had not only done 2 days of observation, because he felt that he had only done 2 days of observation. Furthermore, the subject he observed ended up being the final confirmed suspect. Of course, he also had to pay a portion of the £40. All informants and helpers involved in the matter have to be paid. After distributing the bounty, Stewart immediately remembered something. He took out a piece of paper from his pocket and said to Klein, "Sherlock, I've recently accepted a missing person assignment that pays a lot. Try using your resources to help me attend to it. If the person is found, I won't forget your share." "Sure," Klein replied indifferently. Stewart handed over the piece of paper and said, "It's this man. He's been missing for nearly 2 weeks. As he's involved in some improper conduct or might even be bordering on committing a crime, my client doesn't wish for us to speak to the police." Klein nodded slightly, unfolded the piece of paper, and saw a black and white photo that was made through lithography. Wow, that's a word I haven't read in a long time. It was a man with hair that was combed back in a slanted fashion, and there was a certain elegance in his propriety. He was about 27 or 28 years old. He had a handsome appearance and was undisguised, but there was an undisguised air of arrogance between his eyes. His nose was high and his lips were thin. I'm imagining Benedict Cumberbatch right now. This is who I'm imagining this person as. Right. His name is, Stewart recalled and said, Emlyn White. Emlyn White. Emlyn White? Klein suddenly turned his head to look at Stewart. Isn't that the name of the vampire who's imprisoned in the basement by Father Utravsky? In Duke Negan's mansion, Audrey had been invited to a tea party. Benedict Cumberbatch, Milos, that's the guy who plays Doctor Strange. He was the main actor in Imitation Games, He also did the Sherlock BBC show. Sanguine, Honorable Sanguine. Oh yes, apology. Hey, he's not in the room, Dr. Z. I can just we can call him whatever you want. He's not here to if he's not here to hear it, he's not here to be hurt by it, okay? We can call him Vampire. To his face, we can call him a Sanguine, but behind his back we can just call him a Vampire. It's fine. In Duke Negan's mansion, Audrey, who had been invited to a tea party, was listening to her mother and Duchess Dalla chatting about nobility matters with a slightly bored expression. Her eyes swept across the 3-layered rack and uniquely styled muffins, cakes, and other delicious tidbits. She felt that she had been indulging herself recently, so she lightly picked up her cup and sipped the black tea. After a while, she got up apologetically and, accompanied by the maid, went to the bathroom. As soon as she came out, she met a tall, middle-aged woman with slender eyebrows and a graceful appearance. It was Duchess Dalla's younger sister, the wife of the hereditary count, Lady Norma. After exchanging the formalities, Norma looked at Audrey and said, "I heard that our beautiful young lady is very interested in mysticism." That's racist? How? Who's that racist to? She mentioned mysticism. Could it be someone from the psychology alchemists here to test me? Audrey instantly entered her state as a telepathist, and a little embarrassed, she lowered her head and said, "Yes." Ooh. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Become a part of 2 secret organizations. Fuck it. In for a penny, in for a pound. You know what? Fuck it. Join all the secret organizations. Who even cares? After hearing Audrey's affirmation, Lady Norma laughed. What an honest child. I happen to know some experts in mysticism who are very knowledgeable. Would you like to chat with them? Definitely. That's exactly what I want. Praise the lady. Feigning surprise, Audrey drew a crimson moon on her chest. With a smile on her face, Madame Norma nodded slightly and said, "How about we have an afternoon tea tomorrow?" No problem. Audrey's excited eyes held a little innocence. Bro. Stellaris? Too complicated for my caveman mind. What the fuck is Stellaris? I know you said game, but what game? Is this the game I know? Oh, it's... Oh. Yes, I've heard of this. I've never played it, but I've heard of this. After I'm done today, I'm going to be hammering out Oblivion. I'm so excited. The detailed changes in her body, the color of her emotions, and the changes in her body of heart and mind that were reflected superficially, they all imply that she holds no ill intent, but she's rather nervous. It seems like Lady Norma might actually be a member of the psychology alchemists. She had been observing my expression and actions, but she couldn't adjust or hide her emotions. Maybe she's like Susie, a spectator, but unfortunately, she doesn't know that the person standing in front of her is a telepathist. Audrey thought, feeling both perturbed and proud. She couldn't help but let her feet gracefully walk in a straight line with one foot in front of the other. I'm playing as a heavily xenophobic. I think you want to play Helldivers then, Ramiro. Again, I don't know anything about the game you're playing, but what you're describing just sounds like Helldivers to me. In the house of Isengard Stanton, situated in Hillston Borough, Klein's lips quivered a few times, but in the end, he didn't ask Stuart who his employer was or what he looked like. He decided not to get involved in matters regarding Emmeline White as best he could. Although based on Emmeline's words, he was a law-abiding vampire, but was only limited to his claims. That was only limited to his claims. There were still too many gaps about his earlier life for Klein to be sure that he had not harmed innocent people. Sadly, I can't pirate Helldivers. Lord of the Mysteries is no. Well, I don't know if I feel like I said with the Lord of Mysteries anime announcement. I don't know if I said recent announcement. Did I? If I did, that was a misspeak. But the thing is, I kind of go back and forth where sometimes for my videos I'll have a script that I write down, and then I go But then there's other times when I'm feeling like loose and I feel pretty good. I just go off the dome. Depends on what I'm talking about. And that one I was just going off the dome, so I might have misspoken. It's very possible. I can't remember. For the God Emperor. Fun fact: Tarot Club is known as Traitor Alliance among the Chinese fandom. Klein was a nightmare. Klein was a Nighthawk. Alger is a mandated Punisher, and Audrey's planning to join the Psychology Alchemists. Even though Losan is practically involved with an. That's hilarious. Oh, that's actually very good. Traitors Alliance, yes. Oh, I like that. As a result, he lacked the motivation to seek out Father Utrovsky to save Emlyn. After all, Father Utrovsky was a Dawn Paladin who was skilled in combat and had the aid of mystical items. Furthermore, he was an unweakened Dawn Paladin. Besides, it would be easy for him to expose his true identity to Father Utrovsky and Emlyn White. Let's hope that he can gain the approval of that powerful priest as soon as possible and finish the sentence to be let out on parole. In his heart, Klein tapped 4 times in a clockwise fashion for Emlyn White. After the bounty was divided, the detectives took their share, and Klein was given the best treatment. He walked out the door by the great detective Isengard. I'll be back later. Also this layout. Hey, alright, I know you have to look at my ugly dome username, but it is what it is, right? Sue me. After the holding his pipe, Isengard coughed lightly and said, "There are still some suspicious points about the serial murder case that we have not fully understood. There might even be a more ferocious person hiding behind the killer's back. You must be careful not to spread the word that you played as an important role in this case. It seems like official Beyonders also suspect that the gigantic dog has an owner." Klein replied solemnly, "I know, I had my own guesses about this too. Mr. Stanton, you have to be careful too. You were the one who gathered us, and you're a major partner of the police." Isengard put his pipe into his mouth and said, "Sherlock, I guess I'll call you Sherlock. You can rest assured, although I'm no longer young, I'm still an outstanding fighter, an excellent marksman with instinctive vigilance. Furthermore, you have a high probability of being a Beyonder, not from the low sequences. I wonder which pathway you belong to." Klein thought for a moment and asked, "Mr. Stanton, you don't seem to be a native from Backland. Your accent is closer to that of Civilis." "Nope, just like the previous one, it's so busy and mashed together." I get that. I had that feeling myself. The only other thing I can think of is I might try thinking a little bit, but 8. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I'll worry about that later. Okay. Yes, just like your Midseashire accent, Isengard admitted frankly. The two detectives smiled at each other as an acknowledgement of the other's observational abilities. Klein returned home before nightfall. "Now I have 1,224 pounds plus 5 gold coins and a small amount of change. This is a considerable amount compared to how much I had when I first arrived in Backland. However, Sequence 6 Beyonder ingredients will be at least 1,500 a pop. Sometimes they're scarce, and sometimes because they're scarce and rare, the price might be even higher. And Beyonders who can obtain such items aren't usually in low sequences. They wouldn't misjudge its value and sell it at a low price. It's quite impossible to pick it up at bargain prices. Brother, how about we focus on fucking digesting this potion, and then we can worry about that later." Although the lady with the artisan behind her is very eager for the Black Emperor potion formulas, she has to consider the progress of her advancement. For her, only to be at a sequence 9, it's quite impossible for her to spend a large amount of money to buy the formulas up to sequence 6 in advance, unless she's filthy rich. Well, you can't always be so exploitative. Well, while in thought, Klein was in no hurry to prepare dinner. Instead, he went above the great fog. Just give money to Klein and get blessings. While in thought, Klein was in no hurry to prepare. Instead, he went back to his bedroom, drew the curtains, and went above the grey fog. He had no idea that he needed to verify. He had an idea that he needed to verify. Sitting in the fool's seat, he stretched out his hand and picked up the unadored brass master key. Based on the notebook he had read last night from the Abraham descendant, he guessed that the man who had lost control on the spot because of his choice of advancing during a full moon. God, that was such a stupid decision, dude. Therefore, the curse-like ability of a master key which can make people get lost only to find themselves in bad spots has a high probability of being contaminated by Mr. Door's illusory ravings. Other than the resentment and indignation in the Beyonder characteristics. So what sort of changes will it go when the moon is full? Klein mumbled. In our Lord's church, donations are mandatory, not optional. Hey, listen, what the fuck? Hey, listen, we're not called mandated punishers by choice, okay? Either you give us our mandated money or we punish you with our fists, bro. Conjuring a pen and paper, he wrote the divination statement he had long thought in advance. What it manifests during the full moon. Holding the piece of paper in one hand and the master key in the other, Klein leaned back in his chair, giving a self-deprecating laugh, and said, I'm courting death again. But there shouldn't be too much danger. Mr. Door is far separated from the real world. Hippity hoppity, your money is now my property. He's lost in the depths of the darkness. Furthermore, I have the grey fog to shield me. In this case, the danger from divination was no different from direct divination. The experienced Klein half closed his eyes and his pupils turned dark as he chanted, What it manifests during the full moon. After 7 times, Klein fell into a dream. In that grey, detached, illusory world, he once again saw the basement where the Abraham descendant had died. The flesh and blood here had long since dried up, and the silver pocket watch inlaid with diamonds and the ancient-looking master key had yet to be stolen. They were still laying on the ground. You get the backing of a god, I get your money? Yeah, exactly. You get the backing of someone you think is a god, and I get your monies. Feels like a fair trade. Suddenly, a sharp, hollow voice echoed in Klein's ear. It was like a thin needle stabbing into his head, extending inside, bit by bit, while it scraped as if it was going to completely peel off his scalp. The extreme pain caused Klein to wake and sit up straight. He looked at the blue veins protruding on the back before they quickly returned to normal. It's much more manageable than spying on EBS or directly listening to the true creator's angry roars. Klein went from pressing down his fingers to wrapping them as he thought. Of course, if this were in the outside world, he believed that he absolutely wouldn't have such a reaction. If you don't give me money, I'll spite you. Yeah, exactly. If you don't give me money, you will have my adorer pay you a visit in the night, okay? And you don't want this. You don't want this smoke, okay? Perhaps he had stored the master key in his bedroom and stayed in the hall outside for confession. As long as one makes contact with the master key, they will hear the pleas during the full moon. Before becoming a high-sequence Beyonder, I wouldn't dare listen to it in the real world. What I heard just now seemed to be requesting assistance in ancient Hermes. Klein carefully recalled and confirmed what he had heard. Remember the Vice Admiral? He was short one soli. You know that devil dog? Wait, what's wrong with the micro mirror? Is it? Alright, missing something? Morning, Justin. How's it going? Um, you don't pay me my... You don't hear anything? I think that might be you. I think. Um, hmm. I hear you. My earphones are cooked. Okay. That's fine. Whew. My God, give me a heart attack there. Jesus. Yeah, Azek just becomes the fucking boogeyman. He's just like, listen. You know that devil dog? I was hiring him. And then he owed me 47 pounds. And he was short 2 copper coins. Put him down in the streets. You don't want this, okay? With regards to this, the only thing he could do was twitch the corners of his mouth. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This is really a death-style plea in the true meaning of the phrase. What a pity. If only we could make the people from the Rose School of Thought hear Mr. Doer's plea for help on the night of the full moon. With their already cold, warped personalities, they would definitely explode one after another. Jesus Christ, Klein's just trying to commit mass murder on every single member of the Rose School of Thought. He's like, here, just hold this in one big ceremony, okay? It'll solve all your problems, and they just spontaneously combust. After carefully considering if there were any ways to achieve this goal, Klein returned to the real world, and according to his plan, he enjoyed dinner, changed his clothes, and left the house. He made 2 transfers and arrived outside the Bravehearts bar. He only circled it once without ordering any food without ordering any alcohol before leaving. While doing so, he noticed that Casper's was back again. After walking a block, Klein specially got a rental carriage and made the driver head for the Chairwood Burrow. An illusory figure appeared in front of him as the horse moved forward. It was Miss Sharon. "Are you done with your preparations?" Sharon asked coldly. The soft black cap on her head was firmly pressed against her light blonde hair, coupled with her pale face. Her exquisite facial features gave her the beauty of a doll. "Not quite. I'm waiting for an item." Sharon said with her unperturbed eyes, "I've prepared a mystical item." "That's why you took the mission of being a 3-day bodyguard for 1,000 pounds? Back then, an item caught your eyes, but you lacked the money." Klein smiled in enlightenment. "Don't be anxious. The more prepared we are, the greater the chances of success. Furthermore, I can usually use a mystical item from the Sun Domain to make up for my shortcomings," Klein added in his heart. Seeing that Sharon had stopped talking, he said, "I came here today to get you guys to help me in an experiment." "What is it?" Sharon asked. Dude, unironically, Klein feels like the MC, because Sharon and Merrick are like, holy shit, there's like people trying to kill us, and Klein is like, wait your turn, okay? I will get to your quest, but wait your turn. Klein said with a serious and trustworthy expression, "According to Merrick's description, I think your curses are different. During the full moon, he has to endure the crazy desires of bloodlust which make him unable to fight. As for you, you would enter a weakened state if you do not absorb the soul of humans. Is that right?" Sharon listened quickly and nodded. "Yes. I don't have any solution to your problem at the moment, but I think that it's possible to suppress Merrick's problems temporarily. For example, taking appropriate medicine and letting him in a state where he doesn't have any emotions. That way, during the time, he won't be in pain, and he'll be able to participate in the battle." Sharon shook her head and said, "It doesn't work. Such medicine is no longer effective against him." No longer? In other words, it had worked in the past? Why? Klein asked. "He has injected too much in the past. Even if he changed types, it'll only be effective for the first 3 or 4 times. We're unable to find new types." Sharon said, suddenly turning silent as though remembering something. Hearing her words, Klein immediately said, "I have a different kind of sedative here, from that apothecary." Seeing that Sharon didn't say that this sedative was ineffective, she clasped his hands and continued. He clasped his hands and continued, "I'll give you one and let Merrick try it during the full moon. It's going to be a full moon tomorrow night. If it's effective, let him drink 2 or even 3 before he goes into battle. As for whether he would develop a crazy resistance to the medicine in the future, not our problem right now, Klein thought. Just get him some substance from my catalog. It definitely hits. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, psychiatrist. This is gonna be good. Holy shit, man. We're at chapter 340. This is crazy. We're making such good progress. Now that I think about it, seeing usernames feedback, what I might do is, would you guys be okay if, or rather, no, would it look good if instead of what it currently is, I took the bottom two pictures and just used the picture on the left of Klein? I feel like that might be better to make it look not quite as thrown together, so to speak. I don't know. That's a good point. Okay, Sharon took the sedative that was stored in a glass tube, looked at the liquid that looked pure, and nodded lightly. All right, as expected of someone who doesn't waste her breath, Klein smiled. Miss Sharon, can you tell me the candidate locations for the battleground you've decided? I want to familiarize myself with the surroundings in the next few days. This way, no matter where you choose, I'm prepared. And since they have the right to choose the location of the final battlefield, they won't have to worry about the possibility of me informing the authorities or other Beyonders who might take advantage of the situation. Of course, if she really doesn't trust me, she could try another notarization. Sharon stared at him for a few seconds, then said, "Prepare a map of Backland when you're ready. Leave it on the coffee table." I love how she can't just give him a thing. She's like, "Ooh, no, it doesn't fit with my image. I've got to be a whole fucking..." I have returned, chat. How's it going, Sin? How you doing, man? No problem. I hope that this cooperation will not only go smoothly, but be enjoyable. Klein habitually leaned forward to shake her hand. Sharon lowered her head to take a look, and her figure gradually faded into the air. Klein continued his motion and raised his right hand to soothe his black hair, laughing dryly in the process. Aw. Yeah. Aw, the pretty ones always stand you up. Aw, so disappointing. Imagine intensive notarization artifacts were commonplace. It would be in shambles. Every wedding vow would be like, "I promise to be together with you forever." And the woman is just like, "Put your hand on this, bitch. Let's try." He had asked for the location of the battleground ahead of time, and not only to prepare for the mission, but also to be on guard against Sharon and Merrick. She takes acting as a wraith to a whole different level. Absolutely. What the fuck? Although their philosophy was to suppress and restrain their desires, it was unlikely they wouldn't kick someone to the curb when they'd outlived their usefulness. Klein couldn't be sure that Wraith Steve, Zombie Jason, and Werewolf Tyre didn't have what they abnormally desired. If there really was a treasure that could cause any ordinary Beyonder to have strong malicious intent, Klein really couldn't gather that the two mutants would be able to control themselves. Therefore, he had to figure out the environment in advance and prepare for an escape in the event they wished to silence him. The last guy that kicked Klein to the curb was Lanovis. And hey, it worked out great for him for like a month until he got his ass beat. Every marriage in Intis is mutually open? Fuck. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Roselle did say that even the women are very liberal. Shit. Oh. Yes. I forgot about that. I was just thinking it was like a one-sided Andrew Tate type of relationship. If it wasn't that Klein didn't trust Sharon, who had gone through life and death situations, who he had gone through life and death situations with, but it was the most basic form of self-preservation. One shouldn't have the heart to harm others, but one must be vigilant so as to not be harmed. Klein turned his head to look out the window and sighed inwardly as he mused a Chinese phrase. Oh, I'm sure that's a fucking phrase here too. Roselle, I'm sure fucking took that one too, the little shit. One gas lamp after another kept being left behind as the carriage went forward. The streets became more and more spacious and cleaner, and it took him more than a half hour to get back to Minsk Street. It's really expensive taking a carriage at this time. Klein looked up at the nearby black sky and the red moon that seemed to pierce through the clouds. He walked on for a while, and suddenly he saw the house of the lawyer Jurgen was dark. He pulled out his pocket watch, pressed it open, and with a chuckle detoured to Jurgen's house and used a key that he had been given. At that moment, Brody, the black cat, was already quietly sitting behind the door, waiting for the visitor with his pair of dark, round green eyes. The room was dark and silent, bleak and lonely. Klein squatted down and tried to touch Brody's head, but Brody quickly moved back and flung his hand away in disgust. Jesus Christ, Brody's mean. Shaking his head with laughter, he got up, opened the valve, and lit the gas lamp. Following Jurgen's description, he went to the cupboard to find the food that had already been prepared. Then he went into the kitchen, lit the kettle to boil some water, and prepared Brody's favorite dish, boiled chicken breast. Damn, that cat's eating good. What the fuck? The black cat followed him in, and with an agile leap, it reached the counter. It sat beside him and watched him without making a fuss. Klein glanced at it, rehearsing the shredding of chicken in his mind while he chatted with Brody. You must miss Mrs. Doris, right? Are you worried about her? Lawyer Jurgen didn't come home today. Are you feeling lonely and uncomfortable? Do you feel like you lack a sense of belonging and are exhausted? Is he just talking about himself at this point? As he spoke, Klein's voice slowly faded into silence. Brody, the black cat, remained sitting there, quietly watching him. It didn't make any noise, nor did it cry out. No, cats are meant to be alone. Audrey was invited to tea at Lady Norma's house. These are the mysticism experts that I mentioned. Lady Norma introduced the distinguished guests warmly. This is Mr. Hilbert Alucard, a psychologist and a jewelry designer. He's very talented. This is Miss Escalante Osleika? Escalante Osleika. She's a doctor for mental health, what we usually call a psychiatrist. Hilbert Alucard was a man in his 40s. He looked to be of the southern continent descent, and his skin was brown. His brown hair, blue eyes, and facial features weren't particularly outstanding. He gave off a silent and reserved feeling. Escalante was a baby-faced lady who looked like a young girl studying at a public or grammar school, even though she was already a psychiatrist. She was 3 or 4 centimeters shorter than Audrey and had long raven black hair that reached her waist and a pair of lake blue eyes. Audrey exchanged a few pleasantries with them, then sat down, keenly aware that Alucard and Escalante were observing her. Don't let Audrey's brother see the southern man. She didn't use her telepathist abilities and pretended to know nothing. While initiating topics in the field of mysticism, she constantly paid attention to her emotions, ensuring that they were in the most logical state. I can't let them find out that I'm already a beyonder and have already taken the spectator and telepathist potions. Audrey knew exactly what role she was trying to play. Unlike the silent Alucard, Escalante was quite the conversationalist. After a few rounds of exchanges, she said, "Do you know about the major years and major months?" "No, I haven't heard of those," Audrey cautiously answered, only using the knowledge she had obtained from her interaction with mysticism enthusiasts. "In fact, I've already learned from Mr. Hangman what a major year and major month is," she added in her heart. A major year refers to the number of years it takes for the planet to deviate from its axis, totaling 25,920 years. In the field of mysticism, this is considered a complete cycle that goes from beginning to end. A major month refers to the number of years it takes for this deviation to pass through one of the 12 constellations. Each major month represents 2,160 years. During the transition of major months, terrible disasters will occur. And according to calculations, we aren't too many years away from the end of the current major moon. Escalante spoke with confidence, keeping the atmosphere harmonious. Do I need to write this bullshit down? Do I give a shit about the fucking major year, major month bullshit? I feel like I don't even know why I'm asking. I feel like the answer is obviously yes. No need? No? Oh, thank God. Jesus. Oh my God. That might be the first time you guys have said a piece of information is not useful. Oh my God. Oh my God. We're really in the end game now, boys. They're telling me shit I don't need to put in my notes? That's crazy. Audrey hid the fact that she knew a lot. Audrey hid the fact that she knew a lot as she asked the wrong questions from time to time in a curious tone. Sorry, let me change the music. Good Lord.
Close your eyes. Come to me.
With this, time quickly passed. At the end of tea time, Alucard and Escalante stood up at the same time to take their leave, leaving Lady Norma's house. This caused Audrey to be rather disappointed. She imagined they would eventually hint at the matters regarding to the psychology alchemists, but they didn't say a thing. Yes, a secret organization that can't be exposed. The examination of candidates can't be that simple. From the looks of it, they need to interact with me a few times and observe in secret before they can decide whether or not they want to reveal information and recruit me. That's good too. I can report this to Mr. Fool. Audrey quickly understood the underlying reasons. She then took her leave, and Lady Norma walked her to the door and said, "Audrey, I see that you're also interested in psychology. Why not consider being a psychiatrist before you get married? Earl Hall and his wife are followers of the goddess. They should be able to support you in such things." Among aristocrats, unless there was a financial crisis or other special situations, coming to an agreement on marriage required a long process. Only after careful consideration and comparisons would they be able to make a decision. This was because this wasn't only a matter between two youngsters, but also involved the alliance and mutual assistance of the two families. Therefore, although aristocratic women were able to officially enter social events under the direction of the Queen after the age of 18, proclaiming their adulthood in consideration for marriage, they often started a family after the age of 26, according to statistics. Wow. That would definitely be a huge change from Victorian era England, I'm sure. Money is always more important than time. Gotta add the real important stuff. How many times Klein has went to the bathroom? Yes, of course. The Lord of the Bathrooms, of course. Similarly, the average age of a male aristocrat's entry into politics for the first time was 28 and a half years. In other words, Audrey would have about 8 years to do what she wanted after she reached adulthood. The Church of Evernight had always encouraged female believers to go out and work and engage in certain occupations. In aristocratic circles, many young ladies and women became literary critics, musicians, painters, pianists, etc. Is this a test? Audrey smiled. I will need to read more books if that's the case. Actually, she had always felt that it wasn't too safe for the member of the psychology alchemists to become psychologists or psychiatrists because the upper echelon of the organizations, such as Nighthawks and Punishers, likely knew of the acting method. Therefore, they would pay a lot more attention to this group of people. Lady Norma seemed pleased with her answer and nodded with a smile. Escalante and Alucard are both good teachers. Maybe I could consider asking Escalante to be my home tutor in psychology, Audrey nodded. When Klein got up on the early Sunday morning, he found that the map of Backlund on the coffee table in the living room had been circled in several places. And they weren't too far apart. Therefore, he spent the rest of the morning carefully familiarizing himself with the surroundings and figuring out exactly where the buildings were located and where the nearest cathedral was. In the afternoon, having time to spare again, Klein went to the Quelaag Club to practice his shooting and powers. As soon as he entered the hall, he saw Aaron Cerces, the surgeon, hobbling out slowly from the buffet cafeteria with a crutch. "How have you been lately, Aaron? Has your luck improved?" Aaron, who was born with a blank face, smiled sincerely. "At least I'm not that unlucky anymore. I followed your suggestion, went to the cathedral and told the bishop. He told me to go directly to the confessional and pray to the goddess. I actually fell asleep while praying, but I felt like the goddess had bestowed me with a peaceful state. After that, my luck has been normal. Praise the lady." He drew a crimson moon on his chest. According to my experiences, it was likely a particular sequence 7 nightmare who caused you to fall into a deep sleep. Then a Nighthawk who specializes in rituals quickly set up an altar, prayed to the goddess, and neutralized your misfortune, Klein spoke. "That's great." At that moment, Aaron looked at him and said, "Sherlock, I've always felt that you weren't very pious in your belief of the god of steam and machinery. Why don't you change your faith? Look at me. I'm the perfect example. Put your faith in the goddess." Bro, this guy's a fucking missionary out here? What the fuck? Alright, thanks for popping by, Nightwalker. I appreciate it, man. Have a great rest of your day. Or night. Right. Just get enough money to buy Lightspeed travel tech. Oh, based. Yes, true. Just buy teleportation, even better. We just gotta wait for someone to invent a time machine so money can fix that problem. Yeah, I don't know. I am a stern believer that I don't think time travel is ever possible. I feel like it's going to be like an immutable law of the universe that you just can't get past. That's my feeling. In I don't know, 100 years, it might be seen as like an unbelievably silly statement, but fuck it, I'll be dead by then anyway, so what do I give a shit? I mean, yes, forward time. Yes, I know. Traveling faster and faster. I'm aware. Yes. Yeah, exactly, because it fucks with cause and effect, because I'm sure you guys have heard of, like, the grandfather paradox and whatever, right? Like I don't know how you get about that, or unless we want to consider that the multiverse theory is true, like we get into a whole bunch of bullshit at that point. Oh, fucking hell. "Aren't you making things difficult for me?" Upon hearing Aaron's request, Klein almost drew a crimson moon on his chest, but he ultimately resisted the urge and replied, "Perhaps there's something about my behavior that has led you to misunderstand, but I have to tell you that my faith is something that can't be changed after it's decided upon." Aaron immediately raised his arm and made an apologetic gesture. "I'm sorry that I misunderstood your faithfulness. I shouldn't have taken your faith as a joke." "All right, our difference in faiths do not prevent us from being friends." Klein wiped away the fake expression he put on and smiled. "That's not true. In Faceac and Fainapotter, they only accept one faith." Just read Steins Gate. I haven't read Steins Gate, but I watched the anime. It was fantastic. I loved it. I said something but deleted the comment. That's why you're talking about time travel. Just clarifying. Oh, okay, that makes sense, because I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy to talk about whatever. I got no issues. If you go to the past to change a mistake, then you change... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just the grandfather paradox. In comparison, with so many churches coexisting for more than 1400 years, Lone and Intes are much more open in this respect. Before Aaron could answer, he casually changed the subject. "Did you see Will Ossepton again?" "I'm referring to the kid that had one of his legs amputated. The one who said that your luck would turn for the worse. He said he was certain that the Nighthawks would follow the clues provided by Aaron. He was pondered what the outcome was. He was curious if the child who had changed Aaron's luck still had the tarot card in his possession. No, I haven't seen him since he left the hospital. Aaron shook his head. What a pity. The Nighthawks can find his address according to the hospital records, and it's just not convenient for me to be involved. Of course, the child might have moved away a long time ago. After a brief exchange with Aaron, Klein decided to head to the underground shooting range and familiarize himself with his free revolver with ordinary bullets. At this moment, two more acquaintances came in. One was a member of the National Atmospheric Pollution Council, Coin Company shareholder, Ma'am Mary, and the other was Klein's landlord, Stella and Sammer. They were all wearing relatively light skirts, making them look much younger. Hold on. I just remember the Peak movie Predestination where the MC gives birth to themselves. What the fuck did you just... What did you just say to me? Is this an actual movie? Justin, that's hilarious. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Sorry. According to the rules of the club, each member could only bring one additional person. Therefore, Mary's maid and her bodyguard were left in the reception hall. Klein politely greeted them and praised them out of courtesy. Ladies, you are as beautiful as ever today, and yet there is a beauty that's different from your usual beauty. Having come into contact with a lot of important figures recently, Mary smiled and said, Roselle said that exercise is a necessary part of life, and Stellan is always at home dealing with trivial matters. Even when she's about, she would rather participate in parties and listen to operas. Her health is much worse than it used to be, so I brought her here to play tennis and squash. With her high cheekbones, she looked around and saw a member of the House of Commons and two members of Parliament. She then turned to Stellan and said, I see someone I know. Excuse me while I head over to greet them. You can wait for me at the library. Dude, Klein could do the funniest fucking thing, because Stellan's always talking about money, and he'd be like, I had a great week last week. I made your husband's salary for 7 months last week. Do you think I should consider getting a housemaid now, or what do you think? Oh, God. That movie really showed me the essence of loving yourself. After Mary had... oh, good lord. Alright, compared to Mary, Stellan was clearly much prettier, but towards this lady, she seemed very respectful and docile. After Mary had gone some distance away, she raised her chin, looked at Klein and said, Mr. Moriarty, you seem very busy these days. Yes, I was working with a lot of detectives to help with the investigation regarding a serial murder case. We made a certain contribution and received a sizable reward. Stellan covered her mouth. Really? What did the murderer look like? Why did he kill those ladies? The newspapers have been very vague. I'm sorry, I have to comply with a confidentiality clause. Klein deftly made up a reason. That might make her inner intuition come out. Oh, good lord. It's not like I can tell you that it had the body of a black fur, a smooth glistening tail, Klein lampooned. Stellan nodded regretfully. So, how much did you get? It was split among quite a number of us. Klein didn't answer directly. Was there 50 pounds? Yes. Klein nodded honestly. Stellan smiled. You earn a lot more than I imagined. You really are a capable detective. No, it might take years to come across such a case, Klein smiled. No matter what, you have proven your ability. Stellan's eyes looked like they were thinking, and she said, Next Sunday, Luke and I will be hosting a party at home. I hope you can come. Sorry, I was very presumptuous. I'll have my maid send an invitation to you. There'll be a lot of unmarried ladies at the party, and their fathers or mothers will have decent jobs, and their family earn more than £200 a year. Some of them have part-time jobs that they can do at home, such as being a typist. They're all excellent women. Easy forgot that Samers was married? What? This is a blind date party? Mrs. Stellan has approved of my ability to make money, so she plans on introducing me to a girl? But in her eyes, I'm only fit to be with a woman at that level. Many thoughts flashed through Klein's mind, but after considering the need to maintain his neighborly friendliness and the trouble of preparing his own dinner, he smiled and said, "If all goes well, I'll be there on time." Hey, dude, I would love to have a neighbor like this. Holy shit. Easy on the eyes and she's super helpful? Fuck yeah. If all goes well, I'll be there on time. Stellan smiled and said, Then Luke and I will be waiting your visit. She had left without another word and entered the small library of the club, while Klein proceeded to practice his shooting and beyonder ranges in a small enclosed shooting range. You won't love this kind of neighbor if you're not making bank? Well then you just answered your own question, right, Kami? So just start making money. What are you doing? Get it together. And realistically, she's not saying like you have to be extraordinarily wealthy or anything. She's been pretty clear, like, hey, if you can make like £5-7 a week, like you're doing pretty good. You're like nicely middle class. She's not exactly saying like, oh, you need to make like tons of money, and if you don't make XYZ, you're poor or whatever, right? If you're poor, just get money. Yes. You know, I've never understood the whole homeless problem thing. If you're homeless, just buy a house. Oh God, I almost got through it without laughing. I was so close. I'm sure you guys have seen that TikTok or whatever, right? At 9 o'clock at night, Klein was sitting at his desk watching the crimson moon gradually pierce the clouds, revealing a full body. The water-like light red veil slowly spread out, and time passed by the minute. It was 10:15 when he heard the illusory pleas that seemed layered. Klein guessed that it was from Miss Magician. Closing the curtains, he went above the gray fog and touched the shrinking and expanding crimson star. In a split second, the hazy figure of Fours appeared on the chair with the symbol of a layered door. She let out a sigh of relief, stood up, and bowed. "Honorable Mr. Fool, you have saved me once again." "That's not something to worry about," Klein replied in a light, casual tone. Fours was left speechless and sat down. She was considering what had just happened, so she didn't say anything. As for Klein, he didn't take the initiative to bring up any subject in order to maintain his image. With the towering palace, which seemed to be a giant's residence, he took the silence quickly transformed into the main theme. I don't know. The fact that they keep mentioning that it looks like a giant's palace makes me think like this power has something to do with like the giant King Ormir or something. I don't know. I might just be fucking off. I don't know. But they keep saying that it has something to do with like that it looks like it's a giant's residence. Or like a giant's palace or something. When Force snapped back to her senses, she suddenly felt that this atmosphere was a little oppressive and uncomfortable. During the gathering, there's still Miss Justice, the Mr. World, and company. There was no need to worry about complete silence, but now there's only Mr. Fool and me. What should I do? This pressure is stifling. I need to say something. I have to. I can't just sit here like an idiot. That's Mr. Fool. He certainly wouldn't care about anything, but I'm so nervous and restricted. Force suddenly felt as though she found herself alone with her boss when she first entered the workforce. Although Klein wasn't a spectator, he could clearly see Miss Magician's restraint and unease. He smiled and said, "Maybe you can tell me how you became a Beyonder. For example, how you obtained the apprentice formula in that bracelet," Klein added, the real question he was trying to get by. Force relaxed a little and recalled. "That was almost 3 years ago. I just graduated from a Backland medical school. With my father's help, I entered a private clinic with pretty good benefits. My father had already settled down in East Balam back then." Would decapitate. Persepolis? Oh, oh, yes. That's I feel like interesting. I feel like that would have I would have thought that would have changed after the animation the anime trailers came out. Just seeing it, it would have put like such a different image in your head, but apparently never mind. Nagato, Eridas, how's it going, guys? Just got back from Arabic class. Nice. Um, Ever since the safe sea route to the southern continent was discovered, the outstanding youth of the kingdom started spreading their footprints to every corner of the land. My father, as a low-level military officer, went to East Balam to chase wealth and power. My mother and I were left behind in Backland to live like widows. It would take months before a distant letter sent by the boat would arrive. 3:40 Nagato. Are you already here just lurking? Alright, well, in that case, I didn't get to say hi, so hi either way. You know what, whatever. It didn't. My brain is just too stubborn. Thank you, Herodis. I wasn't going to say anything. It felt mean for me too, but this situation isn't uncommon in the kingdom. I knew an old gentleman who had 5 children, but they were either in the archipelago West Balam, the Paz Valley, or Hagenthi Plains. They have their own careers, their own families, their own wealth, but they've forgotten that there's a father waiting for their return all this time. When I was in grammar school, my mother felt seriously ill. I had no choice but to helplessly watch her die on the hospital bed, and it took my father a month to answer my letter, telling me that he had a new family and a new life in East Balam. He gave me all of his property in Backland and some money. I think he felt a little guilty. As a best-selling novel writer, Forbes had mastered the art of rambling. Since Klein has nothing to do, he listened without interrupting. Forbes exhaled and continued. Anyway, my father introduced me to Yosifov Clinic. Yosifov. I'm sorry. What was the clinic in Bloodborne? I feel like ayahuasca or something. I feel like it had a similar name. Clinic in Bloodborne. Ayahuasca. I feel like. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's not too similar, but it reminded me of it for some reason. Through the Veterans Club, the salary there was pretty good, and I was doing very well. I was a little anxious about the future, hence I worked hard to learn from a senior doctor and worked hard to save money until I met an old lady who came to see me regularly. She was very lonely and childless. Her partner had passed away a decade ago. I had some sympathy for her, so I often talked to her and accompanied her. Once, I was surprised to find that she was able to walk through walls, which opened a whole new world to me. That old lady said that it was something her husband had left her. She vaguely mentioned that as long as one wasn't a member of some family, there was apparently no curse. Not long after, she fell so ill that she was on the verge of passing away. She asked me if I wanted to become someone like her. I was very young back then, and I had a lot of fantasies in my head, so I agreed without hesitation. She gave me the formula and told me to watch her body after she died and take away the glowing object that would suddenly appear. This was the thing she left me, which could be used as the main ingredient of a potion. Also, she gave me the bracelet, telling me not to use it unless I'm in absolute danger. She told me not to pay too much attention to the ravings during the during the full moon. Unfortunately, I was ultimately unable to avoid danger. After using it once, the full moon's ravings became worse. It seemed like that was a widow of a particular Abraham. She had used her own experiences to prove that the curse only existed in the bloodline, Klein nodded. Once you become a high sequence beyonder, the ravings won't have much effect on you. I hope so. Although she didn't believe she could become a high sequence beyonder, she believed in Mr. Fool. It was Monday again, and as soon as Klein got up, he went downstairs and saw an open sheet of paper on the coffee table in the living room. Effective. That's good. Klein immediately let out a sigh of relief. At 15 minutes to 3 in the afternoon, he promptly went above the grey fog to prepare for the new Tarot Club gathering. Wait, what? The effective, I assume, is from Miss Sharon, but what is effective? What did I miss? Oh, the drugs. Thank you, Nagito. Yes, thank you for asking, Nagito. Yes, my grandpa's, he's doing a lot better, but, I'm going to see him, so I'm taking some time off. So my flight is on the 3rd. So I'll be gone from the 3rd to the 17th. I will try to stream while I'm there. I'm taking my laptop. That's why I did a laptop stream a couple of days ago to make sure it works. Again, I don't know how the internet's going to be there and stuff, but like I'll still try to stream. Won't be as much, but I'll still try to stream when I'm there. But yes, he's doing a lot better. But, you know, that just kind of made me think like, hey, who knows what could happen. So I should go spend some time with him before, God forbid, anything happens in the future. So. When she ate it, she didn't know it came from her body, so it was technically unintentional cannibalism. No. It was very intentional, Dr. Z, but again, it's fine. It's fine. I'm starting to understand that, like, in this world, it's kind of so commonplace that it doesn't, there's no way to get, like, for a Beyonder, you can't really get around it, so there's just no point in me being so pissy with everyone. So, it is what it is. There we go. No, you said, no, she said you will find something next to my corpse. No, that's not true. She said, that's not true. She's, She told me to watch her body after she died and take away the glowing object that would suddenly appear. Yes, she knew what it was. Again, it's fine. It is what it is. But has Forrest learned the laws? No, I don't believe so. I don't believe she's learned them yet. Because she just learned of the acting method. I'm sure Audrey or Klein will eventually take pity on her and let her know, but not yet. Damn, just looked at the character poll. Audrey had 79 votes, Forrest had 11. Oof, get fucked. Nah, that's how sealed artifacts form. Characteristics stay on top near the body or some time before it gets absorbed into something. Yep. Then character without needing. Wait, what happened, Nagato? My username. How's it going, man? 341, private communication. The site of the towering stone pillar that supported a high dome and the modeled ancient long table that appeared to have been placed there since hundreds, if not thousands of years ago, entered the eyes. Since Audrey had seen this place many times, she would still feel a kind of shock from the bottom of her heart as soon as she arrived above the grey fog. Out of the corner of her eye, she scanned the surroundings and didn't see any members. She then looked up and bowed to the thick fog. "Good afternoon, Mr. Fool." As she spoke, she suddenly saw a card covered with complicated patterns on the table on the right of Mr. Fool. It was lying there quietly, like a casual object. Is Is that the card of blasphemy? The card of blasphemy that hides one of the pathways of the divine? Audrey immediately understood. The Susie I read Ramiro's message, and I was trying to read the chapter at the same time, and it fucked me so hard. After the fool nodded in agreement, she subconsciously glanced at the Hanged Man, the Sun, and the Magician, and she found that they had also noticed the card that didn't exist in the past. However, their eyes and actions revealed their doubts and astonishment, as well as their inevitable conjecture. After all, a card that should be placed by Mr. Fool was definitely not an ordinary item. Well, Mr. World's reaction is a little odd. He's not even looking there. Is he able to hide his thoughts so well? Is he really the nemesis of a spectator and telepathist? Audrey quickly decided that other than Mr. Fool, the card of blasphemy was known only to herself. Dude, Zawardo is too powerful. Audrey's just like, fuck, dude, how strong is this guy? I can't read him at all. Yes, and since they, since they coalesce into a body part, characteristics are usually body parts. Easy. This made her feel quite proud. It was a feeling like sharing a secret with her parents when she was young, while she kept two of her elder brothers in the dark. Oh man, that used to be so cool as a kid. There's a card of blasphemy created by Emperor Roselle, a treasure that countless Beyonders in the mysterious world dream of. Audrey took the initiative to raise her hand after the Magician, the Sun, and the others did their greetings. Honorable Mr. Fool, I have something I would like to report to you alone. Alone? Alder frowned slightly as he subconsciously tried to guess at the content, but was without any clues. Derek and the others were also curious, but didn't give it too much thought. The world isn't curious at all. Klein nodded slightly and said sure. Frankly, he had no idea what Miss Justice was going to report to him. After 2 seconds, he blocked off the senses of the other members and gestured to Justice. Audrey sat with a dignified posture and said with a sincere attitude, Mr. Fool, as I have asked to purchase the Spectator formula at the Beyonder gatherings, there's been 2 suspected members of the Psychology Alchemists who came into contact with me recently through certain nobles. I am inclined to join them, but only if I can guarantee my own safety. What is your opinion on this? I've attached great importance to this. Psychology Alchemists. From the evidence from various sources of information, it's not considered an evil organization. At the present, they might not even have a deity they believe in. Their main mission is to explore and research one's mind, consciousness, psyche, and spirituality. It's more like a scientific help group. Of course, among the Orthodox churches, it's also a form of sacrilege, since they believe that everyone's spirit belongs to God. And according to Daxter Gudrian, this is why I don't fucking pronounce his last name. God, I hate this guy. According to Daxter, the upper echelons of the Psychology Alchemists definitely have some inclinations. The original creator, the God that created everything, and they worship him to a certain extent, a rather primitive form of worship. Many thoughts flashed through Klein's mind as he finally said with a smile, if you think it's suitable, you can do so. If you encounter a problem, you can seek help from the Tarot Club. Thank you for your Thank you for your suggestion, Audrey suddenly felt relieved. Klein thought for a moment and added using a calm, leisurely tone. Inside the Psychology Alchemists, there are people planted by the church, such as informants of the Punishers and Nighthawks. You have to know how to hide and conceal yourself. Okay, you're all ignoring that Klein and Forrest just had their first date. This will continue to happen every full moon. Yes, and the fact that Klein didn't say anything about how pretty she was or anything, it kind of detracts from your point, Dr. Z. We're hearing his inner monologue, and he doesn't say anything about how pretty she is or anything like that. He literally just goes, she looks nervous. I should probably say something. Ugh. How did you become a Beyonder, I guess? God, I just pissed off like 3 people immediately. Mr. Fool is so nice to remind me to be careful. Audrey slightly bent her eyes and replied with a shallow smile. In the future, there will also be an informant of the Tarot Club inside the Psychology Alchemists. Miss Justice, you haven't even joined and you're already thinking of betraying them? Klein suddenly drew an invisible crimson moon for the Psychology Alchemists. After reporting the matters of the Psychology Alchemists, Audrey wasn't in a hurry to end the conversation. Instead, she said, Mr. Fool, I've memorized another 2 pages of Roselle's diary. To think about it, every time Klein sees Miss Bodyguard, he always says, wow, her pale face and she has such soft features. And, he described her so, whereas for Forrest, he was like, she's sitting there. I can sense she's very nervous. I don't really care, but tell me how you became Beyonder, I guess. Tell me more about the bracelet. I don't give a shit. That was also why she had asked to speak to him in private. If she had conjured Roselle's diary and given it to Mr. Fool under the witness of the magician and Fours, she could imagine that at the end of the gathering, Fours would immediately come to her and borrow those Roselle's notes she had bought in the past. And with regard to this, the goddess could prove that Mr. Fool had seen them all. I forgot to do so previously, but one of these days I'll have to find an opportunity to tell Forrest that the Roselle notes I bought were torn apart by Susie. Yes, torn apart into pieces and can't be restored. I'm sorry, Susie. Very good. Klein knocked gratefully in the edge of the long bronze table to help Miss Justice conjure the diary pages. With the 2 pages in hand, he cast his eyes over, only to have his smile gradually stiffen. The first line of the journal read, March 6th. Damn it, I'm almost constipated from eating the food here. I can't say more because the spoilers, but Klein and Forrest have to... Hold on. Finding someone attractive is superficial? I feel like it's like a necessary part of being in a relationship, no? Like, you don't have to be dating a supermodel, but you have to find the person you're dating attractive. Oh my god. This is what I saw at Roselle's memorial exhibition. Klein hid his expression and turned to the second page. He found that the contents were complaints and novel experiences of Roselle's early day of transmigration. They were of no practical use. He controlled his expression and smiled. Do you wish to deduct from the gold pounds you have yet to pay, or do you wish to get something else in return? Mr. Fool, I would like to know of which pathway of the divine that card of blasphemy is for. You really treat money as dirt, Klein sighed. This is the Black Emperor card. The corresponding sequence is sequence 9, Lawyer. First thing I do when I see an attractive person is to imagine them as bald. What the fuck? That's gotta be a joke, right? So that's what it is. After receiving her answer, Audrey felt abnormally satisfied. After the conversation ended, the magician, Fours, looked eagerly at the World, who sat at the other end of the table. Mr. World, I will try to gather a mystical item or powerful Beyonder weapon in the Sun domain. What kind of deal did you two make in private? Despite the familiar feeling with Fours, Audrey wasn't aware of this, so she couldn't help but ask. Fours let out a sigh and said, Mr. World has helped me find the formula to Trickmaster. Mr. World is capable at finding formulas. Does he have extensive and reliable resources and connections? Audrey listened in surprise. No, he doesn't have shit. The hanged man Alger concealed his solemn expression, once again re-evaluating the World and raising his assessment of him. As for Derek, he felt rather expectant. He hoped that after finishing digesting the light supplement potion, Mr. World would be able to easily find him the formula for Sequence 7, Solar High Priest. What the fuck? Miss Magician, before you purchase it, it's best that you chant Mr. Fool's honorific name and request that he pass the relevant information to me. Yes, I've already sought Mr. Fool's permission and he has agreed to help. If I'm not satisfied with the item you set your eyes on, perhaps I will consider switching to another request. Klein now had 3 alternatives for items in the Sun domain. He had planned to compare them before making any finalizations. One of them was the brooch, which Mr. Eye of Wisdom had mentioned. It had the effect of purifying and warding off evil spirits and letting the wearer use a portion of the spells in the Sun domain. The negative effect was that the wearer would never feel cool, forever stuck in a hot and irritable state. Klein found the mystical item only okay, and since the price would be close to £2,000, he was unable to afford it, even if he had sold the Briber formula. Therefore, he had to wait a couple of days. If Miss Magician and the lady with the artisan backing her couldn't find something better, then he would cash out the formula and buy the brooch. Okay, I'll give you the information no later than tomorrow. Forrest had confirmed that Mr. A would be hosting a gathering that very night, and she had given herself another day for any unexpected outcomes. When the conversation was over, Alger looked around and said, as if he had already prepared a draft, I recently took on an investigation mission. Now, I'm not sure if you have any relevant leads. In the past 2 to 3 years, many original native tribes in the southern continent have been plundered and all their people taken away. In the various colonies in the island at sea, some slaves have also mysteriously disappeared. Such situations have not happened in a long time since the countries of the northern continent abolished the slave trade. Have you all heard anything that's relevant? Okay, take notes. Alright, god damn. Alright. Okay, anyone else want to type the same thing? Alger, nope. Okay. His eyes swept over Justice, the Magician, and the world, but he didn't look at the sun. How could a boy trapped in the City of Silver know anything happening outside? Audrey carefully recalled a conversation she had heard at the noble gatherings, but after a while she said, no, I've never even heard of such a thing. The Magician and the world both shook their heads as well. Is this indicating that the slave trade in the black market is flourishing again? Why would they need so many slaves? Klein sat at the end of the long bronze table and thought of a matter suspiciously. Maybe this feels like because I don't know anything else, but like in my mind, maybe it's like setting up, maybe someone's setting up to become, what was sequence 0 of the lawyer pathway that we learned? Because didn't it require like herding a bunch of people into those mausoleums and fucking killing them all? Maybe someone's trying to do some bullshit like that, you know, with these slaves to try to become, or maybe some higher, or maybe not sequence 0, but like a high level sequence. I don't know. Oh yes, Black Emperor. Maybe, yeah, like, I'm not saying someone's trying to become the Black Emperor, but like maybe someone's trying to reach some sort of high level thing like that, and then Yeah, no, no. It never said anything about killing, but it said something about taking them away, and maybe that's for a ritual. Or I guess it could just be like, yeah, exactly. I was thinking sacrifices, but that could just be in general. But it could just be about the slave trade in general. That's possible. I don't know. Um, is this to do? Seeing that no one had any clues to provide, and how Mr. Fool showed no interest by not interrupting, he said, without changing his expression, "You can attempt to seek out the formula for Wind Blessed. I can provide you with payment that will absolutely be enough to satisfy you." The formula for Wind Blessed? He's almost finished digesting the potion of Seafarer. Klein activated his spirit vision and glanced at the hanged man. Sure enough, he had found that the surface layer of his astral projection was not only pure blue like the sea, but it also had slight ripples, as if it was slowly undulating. Yeah, I did, Romero. I did. If I do the math, it took the hanged man nearly 4 months to digest the Seafarer potion. He's often at sea. Audrey also made a judgment based on what she had observed. At another point that Forrest paid more attention was that Mr. Hangedman was likely sequence 7, a mid-sequence beyonder, she added. And after the Hanged Man finished announcing his mission, Derek raised his hand and said with some apprehension, "I've been assigned to go on a mission. I will be heading to a half-destroyed temple that I mentioned previously, and in the future, yes, the one related to the fallen creator. The leader responsible for this operation is Shepherd Elder Lovia. Do you have any suggestions?" Sorry, let me pull up my notes really quick. Give me a second. To advance from sequence 1, they need to possess their own country, linking their names to titles to emperor, making it common knowledge among the populace. Furthermore, one needs to establish a strict set of and complicated rules that defy normality, including architectural styles. Then they would need to spur on the citizens to establish 9 mausoleums similar to pyramids, after which one would enter the mausoleum with a large majority... with a large majority of citizens who would be scattered across the thing. Of course, yes, but sacrificial rituals by definition means like sacrificing them. What else are they sacrificing otherwise? Sorry, I just saw the devil's message. And their beans. Oh god. Not always lives. You see, he's always acting, and it took him 4 months. That's true, Dr. Z, but he's not special like our boy here. Not always live. Yeah, I guess it doesn't say they die, but sacrificial ritual in my head means death. But I mean, I could be wrong. I just saw Devil's message in Discord. It fucking killed me, dude. Dude, this is crazy. I've read 5 chapters in an hour and a half? That kind of feels wild. Are you telling me I can do another... That means I can maybe... That means maybe I can do like 346 or 340, something like that. That'd be amazing. You know what? Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to run to the washroom and then we'll continue, okay? Actually, let me just change the title before I go. I'm going to forget when I come back. Why the fuck is this not centered? What the fuck? My god, you know, OBS is such a great fucking... Get to 355? Are you out of your fucking mind? Maybe what we can do is maybe I can push really hard right now, get to like 346, 347 or something, and then at night I can get to 355. Maybe we can do that. We'll talk about it. I'll be right back. Okay, I need to piss. Oh, this in 2 places now. This is cool. Why is the fucking chat in 2 places? God, I fucking hate OBS so much. God damn it. About 50% of the time, my chat doesn't show up at all, and now it's showing up in 2 different places. God, OBS sucks, dude. I say that, but the truth is it's probably not even OBS's fault. It's just my dumbass not being able to set it up correctly. Okay, yeah, maybe we can push hard right now and then get to like 46, 47 or something, or maybe 46. Sorry, maybe 47, 48, because then I can do like another 7 chapter stream at night, and then bang, we're at 355. I don't know what 355 is, but hopefully it's something cool. I'm still like I have a hard stop in like 2 hours, but 2 hours is a long time, man. I can push, see what we can do. Okay. Suggestions. My advice is to stay as far as possible. Upon hearing the son's question, Klein instantly had heard such an answer in his mind. However, in order to preserve the image of the fool and see what others would suggest, he remained silent and did not manipulate the world to speak. After a short moment of silence, Alger turned his head to look at the son. He said in a steady and gentle voice, "You have provided too little information, so it's difficult for us to give any useful advice. The only thing we know of regarding that semi-destroyed temple is the presence of the true creator, or in other words, the fallen creator's unique statue. We don't know what else is there, so naturally we can't make much of an analysis of the situation. The fallen creator is indeed the true creator. To think that there's faith in the true creator in the city of Silver where the sun lives. There's even a temple built." The magician Forrest listened with relish and almost wanting to write it down. Just as Audrey waited for the son's description of the strange temple in anticipation. Derek nodded and then said, "In addition to the statue, there's been a few incomplete murals with terrifying evil spirits lingering around. However, they've already been dealt with by the exploration team led by 2 elders of the 6-member council. I've yet to see the murals with my own eyes, but it's said that it records the prophecy of the end of days and how the fallen creator will save his believers, as well as the corresponding bloody rituals. In the corners of the murals, there are certain strange characters that appear to have evolved from Jotun. After some deciphering, a few elders believe that they meant Rose Redemption. This might be a code for the original muralist. It might also be a code of an organization that built the temples in the city. Rose Redemption. Could this have something to do with the Rose School of Thought? Or just a coincidence? The 1,000 years I'm referencing, oh sure. Sorry. Okay. According to the chief's judgment, these murals are nearly 1,000 years old. The 1,000 years I'm referring to is the one that you know. But I'm not completely sure. In the City of Silver, we use the frequency of lightning to demarcate our days. It's considered night when the lightning eases up and day when there's plenty of lightning. One cycle is a day, and the 4 seasons only exist in books. We can't grasp the specific number of days. Only the chiefs can confirm that. At this point in the Sun's story, Forrest suspected that she was listening to a fairy tale. A city without the sun or the red moon, without day and night or changes in the weather, it sounded unreal no matter how she listened to it. Only fairy tales or novels would make such daring descriptions. As the author has to smoke cannabis to be in a state of psychotic madness to create such a city. The first thought that came to her mind was, after astonishment, was, I want to use the City of Silver as a blueprint for a novel. However, she soon gave up on this idea, for she didn't know what the City of Silver really implied. She wasn't sure if it was a secret that was collectively concealed by the 7 churches, and she was afraid that as soon as the book was published, she, the author, would have the Nighthawks knocking on her door claiming to collect copper pennies for her gas meter. So that's the kind of environment in which the City of Silver lives. The Sun has often mentioned monsters lurking deep in the darkness. Unfortunately, I'm only at a sequence 8, otherwise I would really like to ask Mr. Fool to send me there for an adventure. No, Audrey, you're not just an innocent girl anymore. You have to be aware of how much danger is involved. At least 1,000 years. The Aurora Order hasn't been in existence for more than 3 centuries. It might not even be 2 centuries old. It's unlikely to be built by them. Perhaps the true creator's faith has begun as early as the 5th epoch or even the 4th epoch. However, the organization that revered him wasn't the Aurora Order. The next one to 2,000 years, the 7 Orthodox churches have been repressing it, causing the true creator's believers to be in crisis. The churches have destroyed them again and again, and finally they have resurrected themselves as the Aurora Order. Klein, who had some guesses, made his seating posture and state appear unchanged. Does he have smoke in right in Lord of the Mysteries? Yeah. Oh my god, yeah, that could just be like a self-description. He could just be like, oh yeah, I was high when I came up with it, so you know what, we're gonna say... Oh, that's a good point. It could just be a self-description. Good point. Derek paused for 2 seconds and continued. A preliminary cleanup of the terrifying monsters in the city ruins and the half-destroyed temples has been done. Our mission this time is to explore the underground parts of the temple. Do you have any suggestions? With our understanding of the fallen creator, what should I pay attention to? My suggestion, Alger said without hesitation, my advice is to absolutely not go. The fallen creator is a true evil god. Even if his temple has been destroyed, it might still contain abnormal dangers which you cannot easily detect. If the one leading your team is one of the elders of the 6-member council, then there's nothing wrong if you insist on going. It'll be just as risky, but you mentioned that the person in charge of this matter is a shepherd. The true creator is the deity standing at the peak of this beyond our pathway. Therefore, absolutely do not go. The true creator is... I wonder how scary the childbirth to Cuttlefish was that he wrote this. He was probably afraid of his wife when he was pregnant. What, do you know which pathways? How the fuck would I know that, Dr. Z? How would I possibly know this? Your suggestion is the same as mine, but it doesn't require the sun to describe the half-destroyed temple. You could have come up with this conclusion based on the conditions at the beginning. I understand, Mr. Hanged Man, you were doing it on purpose. This way you got a rough idea of the state of the temple without paying anything. You really are just bullying a little kid. Sitting at the end of the table, Klein leisurely reached out his hand to support his forehead. The sun was silent for a few seconds. Having seemingly been put in a tough spot, he said, "But the mission is compulsory." The Hanged Man chuckled and said, "Nothing is necessary." Divination? Do you want me to go through all 22 of them flipping the coin? Or what do you guys want? Will you still be participating in patrols before this mission? Find an opportunity and deliberately let the monsters injure you. As for how serious it should be, you can reference the past cases in the City of Silver. At this moment, Audrey read a message from the sun's eyes and movement that said, "That actually works?" After a brief period of surprise and confusion, Derek frowned and said, "But I don't have any patrolling missions in the near future." Alger sneered. "You can always pretend to be on the brink of losing control. No, to be precise, you can push yourself to the brink of losing control. Under such a situation, I believe the higher-ups would definitely not bring a dangerous baggage with them on an exploratory mission, right? There is a trick. As long as you keep your spirituality in an empty state for 2 days, you will begin hearing auditory hallucinations and show signs of losing control. If you stop suppressing yourself, then your situation will improve in a week, and you really wouldn't lose control. Of course, the City of Silver definitely has some solutions and contingency to cure those who are losing control. Your recovery would definitely be quick, so you need to time yourself perfectly. It's best if you start doing so 2 or 3 days before you set off." Derek was stunned for a while before he muttered to himself, "Yes, those who show signs of losing control will be placed under control and quarantined underground in the spire. They will be treated with medicines, rituals, and mystical items. If the situation isn't too serious, then they only need to consume medicine." Such an honest and good kid has been corrupted by an old fox like that. Oh, Alger. But how do you know of this trick of pushing yourself to the brink to almost losing control? If you use this often, you might actually lose control, Klein sighed in his heart. Sorry, I just read the devil's message. Oh, good lord. Don't leave a follicle. Oh, fuck, that is so good. Oh my god. How cooked are you? Audrey was dumbstruck when she heard this. She felt as though she'd been educated. Seeing that the son was still hesitating as though he didn't wish to lie to the City of Silver's elders, Alder slowly asked, "Do the City of Elders' 6-member council know that the fallen creator controls the Shepherd pathway?" "They don't." Derek shook his head. Alder asked again, "Do you think it's possible that the Shepherd Lovia will do harm to the City of Silver? Just answer yes or no. There's no need for an explanation." Yes, Derek finally couldn't lie to himself. Alder chuckled and said, "So you are the only one who knows of this matter, and you haven't found a way to warn the other members of the 6-member council, right?" Yes, Derek's expression grew heavier. Alger changed his seating position and leaned back. "This mission carries immense risk. There's something you know. If you die in that half-destroyed City of Silver, who will expose the strangeness of Shepherd Lovia? Who can save the City of Silver from this crisis? The fallen creator is a real evil god. You are not pretending to lose control or lying to others for personal benefit. You are doing it to save the City of Silver. Compare your honor to what's more important. Derek clenched his teeth and nodded. I understand. Thank you, Mr. Hanged Man. Audrey and Ford suddenly had the urge to facepalm themselves. He really is easily fooled. But that's good too. It prevents the Tarot Club from losing members in the near future. Klein sighed silently as he controlled the world to say, I have a question to ask Mr. Stun. This could involve a transaction, therefore I'm requesting a private exchange. Klein switched back to himself and nodded indifferently, sure. After the others were screened, the world looked at the sun and said, does the City of Silver have a way to remove an evil god's mental corruption on a Beyonder characteristic? This was something Klein had wanted to ask a few times, but considering that the Justice and others might also be interested, and that if the Sun was unable to answer questions that involve an evil god, then all eyes would be cast towards the godlike Mr. Fool. Therefore, he had restrained his impulse, and it was only a few moments ago that he got inspiration from Miss Justice and came up with the idea of communicating privately. We have never encountered an evil god, Derek answered earnestly. We can only separate a rampager's mental corruption from a Beyonder characteristic. That's it. This might actually work. After all, I have the Grey Fog. What do you need in return? It's not a matter of compensation. That method and corresponding knowledge requires me to at least be a captain of a patrol team, or a strong warrior like a captain of an exploratory team. The former requires me to be sequence 7, and the latter requires a minimum of sequence 6. Klein sighed, letting the world say, I hope you can obtain the qualifications as soon as possible. Well, he's at a sequence 8 and close to being a sequence 7, so I'm sure he can get there soon. Raws of the manhwa just uploaded, so I'm going to look through those. Alright, sounds good, username. I need to go have a math exam in 2 days. No worries, Nagato. Alright, you should study. Go on. Bye. It looks longer. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's very good. I'm sure. Did you guys see that fucking short from what's his channel name? I can't remember. Is it? I think it's light novel historian or whatever. Yeah, the 100 years. Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say, Milosh. It doesn't. I mean, it doesn't work like that because hopefully, as it starts doing well, it'll be one every week instead of 2 weeks, and then as later and later into the story, they're not going to be it's not going to be one manhwa chapter per like light novel. It's going to be like a lot more. It might be like 10-1 or something crazy. So the trader, what happened? I have the stream in the background for a bit using ramen. All right, sounds good. Dude, it just came up in my fucking feed. Relax. If it was anything to do with the story, I wouldn't have watched. Relax. I can't. I have to do other stuff. God. With 2 chapters a week, it'll be 25 years. Yes, but if it's a chapter a week and then the rate of adaptation, like instead of a manhwa chapter does a 1 chapter of the light novel, it does like 5 or 10. It splits that into 10 years, into 5 years. It splits it into a much more reasonable time frame. After the private discussion between the world and the sun, the tarot gathering began its free discussion. Audrey asked with great interest about the unique scenery of the sea and any strange happenings, while Alger gave selective descriptions according to his own knowledge. Forrest quietly listened and was inspired to write a novel about a pirate king, of how he captures a female passenger and has a complex love affair with her, a fantasy that coexisted with reality. Derek could only imagine what the sea looked like based on the paintings in the City of Silver, and the corresponding words. In the end, Klein, whose spirituality was gradually drained, announced the end of the tarot gathering, after which he quickly returned to the real world and made up for it with a nap. He even gives out COI spoilers casually. Oh shit. Just put his channel on mute. Okay, sounds good. 1,000+ chapter spoilers casually. The anime, of course, assuming we get a season every 2 years. A season every 2 years. Jesus, that is crazy. But next year we're also supposed to get... Oh my god, if we get a season every 2 years... I mean, I feel like they could do a season every year. I feel like they could. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like they could. Depending on how good season 1 does, they definitely could. But even if it's one every 2 years, we hopefully should get Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint next year. And then we can just cycle back and forth between those. Oh, that'd be based as fuck. Oh, RV. This was in like 3 years production. Yeah, of course. Of course, the first season always takes longer, right? Because you have to build all the character models and stuff. But once all that stuff is done, you have a lot of artifacts that you can reuse. I say every 2 years because the first season took quite a lot of time. Yeah, of course, but like development of the first season always takes a lot longer than future ones, right? Because there's a lot of building blocks that need to be in place. You need to get all the team in orders. You need to delegate. Like it just how should I? So, like, the thing is, our brains work very linearly. Like, we think progress is like a straight line, but it almost never is. Progress is almost always exponential. So, like, this might be the first 3 years, like, 3Y, right? But after that, progress takes off a lot quicker. It doesn't work linearly bit by bit. The thing is, our brains just function much better with linear thing. Exponential graphs are just so fucking hard for our brains to comprehend, and I get that, but it doesn't. Yeah, things in the real world rarely ever work linearly. Okay. It 7:30 at night in Empress Borough inside a particular noble's house. Force put on a hooded robe, and after so many days, she was once again attending the gathering organized by Mr. A. She quietly sat in the corner while pretending to casually survey her surroundings. She noticed that Mr. A, who was sitting alone on the sofa, seemed to be a little different from before. There wasn't a change in appearance or temperament, because the other party's face was completely hidden in the shadow of his hood, preventing her from making anything out. The difference she felt was almost an intuitive feeling. That's why we draw charts by log? Exactly, yeah. Do you think it will get popular internationally, though? Even To Be Hero X is not getting popular as fast as it should? The thing is, it's... that's a good question. The problem is, it's a couple of things. First, like, To Be Hero X, I don't even think that's on fucking my anime list, is it? I feel like I checked this a while back. Oh, no, it is. Okay, never mind. It is. Sorry. Okay. What was I thinking of that isn't? Or did it get added recently? Because I feel like this wasn't on here a while back. Yeah, unless I'm losing my fucking mind. So, okay, well, the fact that it's on here is definitely a huge start. International. The thing is, donwas are just harder to put out. They don't have that like underlying basis that like anime studios have built up over the years. It's just hard. Yeah, that's the thing. The Chinese viewership will eclipse the rest. It'll grow over time. Yeah, I think so. Mr. A is no longer as carefree and indifferent as before, with him always looking at everyone in a supercilious manner. The current him seems to be very repressed, like he's trying his best to control something. He feels a lot more dangerous now. In the past, Mr. A was a mountain. Now he's more like a reared up snake, sticking out his tongue fiercely. The best-selling writer Forrest suddenly felt grateful that she hadn't gotten Gio to come with her, since she needed to hide matters regarding the Tarot Club and not let her know that she was looking for something in the Sun domain. This way, even if there are accidents, my escape would be much easier. She rotated the bracelet, which only had 2 stones left. She was in no hurry to write down her request to hand over to the attendant. Instead, she waited patiently, observing for a while. I mean, the current Lord of the is growing exponentially. I remember the sub was only at 10k, now it's 40k plus. Yeah, one can hope. Maybe it can break the mold, but the thing is, Donwas just generally have a harder time getting publicized, because they're, I guess, maybe because they're, I'm thinking about how to phrase this. Maybe because their marketing is really based in China and not as international, but I don't know. Maybe there's a different reason that I can't recall. Could be a lot of stuff. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, she picked up a piece of paper and a pen in front of her and wrote in deliberately distorted handwriting, seeking to buy mystical items or powerful beyonder weapons in the Sun domain. After LinkClick is probably the most popular internationally, fuck yeah, LinkClick was awesome. Of having great Japanese Vs, that's true too. Japanese Vs are very important, because there's this like sort of stigma of watching dub. I mean, partially it's also that dubs aren't as good, but partially it's also that there's a stigma. And in the original Mandarin, I feel like people wouldn't watch much either. So the fact that it has a triple dub is based as fuck. After handing the note to the attendant, Forrest looked around again, but she couldn't find the EBS believer who had helped the purification and exorcism ritual. Trades took place as the attendants shuttled about. The entire hall remained quiet and orderly. After an exchange in the middle of the gathering, Forrest's request was added to the chalkboard in front of her. Not long after, she received a reply from the attendant. A small slip of white paper was filled with dense words. I mean, Supercube dub? I have not seen Supercube yet. Mystical item, Band of Light Ring. It can make the user an envoy of light, an attendant of the sun. They will be immune to various diseases and wield sacred power. The wearer can summon a blinding light and use several spells in the Sun domain. It can purify all dead spirits in a 50-meter radius. It is the enemy of such creatures. If the wearer is acknowledged by the ring, they will be enhanced. Otherwise, they will be weakened. The only problem is that if the wearer utilizes it too often, they will slowly become a believer of the EBS and slowly defend the doctrine and praise the sun from the bottom of their heart. If you wish to obtain it, please pay me 9,000 cash in once. I can wait for you to raise it. 9,000 pounds? Forrest's mouth was open as the other party was robbing her. That was a huge amount of wealth that she wouldn't even be able to borrow, even if she asked someone. Aside from the deposit on the assassination of the Intis ambassador, the amount of money she had seen so far combined had never been this high. The person with 9,000 cash was considered a tycoon, even in Backland. Damn, fuck. I was really hoping Klein got that, because that sounded so dope. What the fuck? Like, dude, that is such a based artifact, and its negative effect isn't even a thing. You just become a believer of EBS? Fine, bro. Any god who can give me the ability to purify fucking evil objects within 50-meter radius. You just walk around like a fucking you just walk around with this array of sunlight around you. Fuck yeah, dude, I'll believe in that god. I don't give a shit. Although I know that mystical items can be expensive, I never expected them to be this expensive. Does he plan on getting 9,000 pounds and not participate in Beyonder gatherings anymore and leave the city to enjoy life in peace? For a moment, she didn't dare reply to the seller. She pretended that nothing had happened and listened for nearly 10 minutes. When she received no additional responses, or response to relatively inexpensive Beyonder weapons, she got up and went to the bathroom. After confirming that no one was around, she recited Mr. Fool's honorific name and told him in prayer, and told it to pass on to Mr. World. Klein, who heard the prayer, went above the grey fog and got a basic understanding of the situation. 9,000 pounds? After silently calculating the amount of money he could raise in a short amount of time, he let out a breath, conjured a fake person, and said, "The negative effects of this mystical item are too serious. I do not wish to be a believer of the sun. You don't have to worry about this anymore. We'll transact using cash instead. Pay 450 pounds and you'll get the formula for the Trickmaster." The moment he finished his sentence, he cut off the connection, watching the world disappear. He raised his hand to rub his forehead and said, "Next, I'll have to get information on what kind of item the barbarian lady can gather. Otherwise, I can only purchase that brooch from the Eye of Wisdom." Fuck. Yeah, his reaction was the same as mine. You know what? Me and Klein are very similar, man. I feel like our personalities are very similar. In the washroom, Forrest let out a sigh of relief. She indicated that she would hold a sacrificial ritual as soon as she got back. It's a pity I don't know the formula for now. Otherwise, I could take the opportunity to see if there are any Beyonder ingredients I need. She returned to the hall and focused on the information on the two blackboards. She didn't respond to the previous note, much less consider bargaining. Even if the consider was willing to discount it by 1,000 pounds, she still wouldn't have the money or liquidity to buy it. More importantly, she felt that Mr. World couldn't afford it either. She stayed until the end of the gathering, and because of Mr. A's changes, she didn't linger or talk to anyone. She quickly left the house. After more than 10 minutes, the gathering came to a complete end, leaving Mr. A and his attendants alone. Slowly, Mr. A got up and walked down the stairs to the basement. His knees buckled and he fell to the ground, rolling down several steps. He was sprawled on the ground, and the shadow beneath him quickly turned scarlet red. His flesh and blood melted and mixed into the shadow, making it look like a brand new skinless monster, like person that had been separated from his body. She felt the poverty of Mr. World, yeah. Nice, Dr. Z. Mr. A's breathing gradually returned to normal as his top body gradually relaxed. The flesh and blood that had been separated flowed back once again. Everything returned to normal. Mr. A crawled forward and knelt in the basement, once again confessing his sins while choking with sobs. He was confessing for his oversight from before. He wasn't vigilant enough and caused the Lord's descent to fail. Oh, it was this asshole. He was trying to bring in the true creators. He was trying to get the true creator to be born in Lanavis's body. This piece of shit. I always knew there was something off with this little fucker. City of Silver, Derek Berg's house. He walked in silence a few times around the table, unable to make up his mind. His reasoning told him that Mr. Hankman's suggestion was the best one. But the faces of the other members in participating in the mission kept flashing his mind. And he felt that he had abandoned and betrayed them by pretending to lose control. Is there no way to save them? Should I find a chance to meet the chief and tell him that the half-destroyed temple belongs to the fallen creator who's the evil god who controls the shepherd pathway? That he should be careful of Elder Lovia and change the person responsible for the mission? How should I explain where I got this information from? In their eyes, Mr. Fool would be the same as an evil god. Derek pulled his hair in frustration. The axe of Hurricane was placed in a position that was within reach. Every time a bolt of lightning streaked past the window, it emanated a faint light. Suddenly, Derek stopped and looked into the darkness and into the dark sky. It was as if he had once again seen the state his parents were in before his death. He found the pain and experienced when he stabbed his sword downward. There's no time. I need to make preparations for the future so that I wouldn't be suspected for my discovery of that God being the fallen creator. As his expressions distorted, he clenched his teeth and muttered to himself. He then suddenly left the side of the window and went back to the table. In the Hall in the Hall family's luxurious villa. What are we at? Are we at 343? Okay, dope. In the art studio, Audrey leisurely smeared oil paint when she heard a rhythmic knock on the door. When her maidservant Annie opened the door, she saw it was her mother, Countess Caitlin. Although she was close to 50 years old, she looked to be in her early 30s. She had blonde hair, green eyes, and a beautiful and graceful appearance, enough to attract the attention of most gentlemen. Mother, is something the matter? Audrey put down the items in her hand and stood up, puzzled. The Countess, who looked at her daughter, who was even more beautiful than her younger self, smiled and said, I just attended a dinner party. Lady Della said that you're interested in psychology and that you wanted to hire a tutor, didn't you? Yes, but I haven't decided yet, Audrey replied hesitantly, on purpose, like she usually did. How could the Countess not see through her daughter's thoughts? She smiled and said, she recommended a psychiatrist named Escalante. If you have no problem with that, I'll send someone to invite her to tutor you twice a week. How about that? It's your decision, Audrey smiled, bit by bit. Audrey's smile blossomed bit by bit. Mother, come and sit here. I'm lacking a beautiful model. On Tuesday morning, Klein confirmed the Backlund Morning Post that the Eye of Wisdom's gathering would be held tomorrow night. He was relieved as he no longer worried that the acquisition of the item he needed wouldn't be in time for Miss Sharon's attack on the enemy. To celebrate the good news, he decided to take off a day at the Quelaag Club. Dope. Alright, if we can do 3 more chapters, that'd be beast as fuck. That chapter title is scary. I think I think everyone said they wanted me to get to 355 next stream. So I would like to, if possible, get to like 46 or 47, Milosh. So I'm going to try. If I can complete 46, that would be amazing. If I can just complete 44 and 45, then that'll be fine. And I can go from 46 to 55 at night. Only thing I spend lavishly on is food. Agreed. Nothing else matters. Oh, so he's gonna buy an expensive item, isn't he? Is he gonna spend a shit ton of money today? Ooh, I'm so curious. Underground shooting range of the Quelaag Club. When he was done shooting, Klein meticulously serviced his free revolver and adjusted the ratio of the purifying bullets. Demon hunting bullets and exorcism bullets to 3-1-1. He exhaled, put away his revolver, tidied his coat, and slowly walked back to the hall on the first floor. He had already heard from the attendant that the dish that was in limited supply today was pan-fried dragon-boned fish. Spending money on Wuthering Waves. As soon as he entered the buffet cafeteria, he saw an acquaintance, Talem Dumont, the equestrian teacher from an abject noble family with short brown curls. He was eating his lunch with unfocused eyes. Klein carried over his plate, sat by, and greeted him. Talem turned his head, his lips quivered a few times, and said, Sherlock, do you know how rare people are who have strange abilities and are very powerful? Yes, The one in front of you is 1, Klein's eyebrows twitched. What do you want to know? Talem's mouth opened, but he said nothing. With a solemn expression, he thought for a while before he squeezed out a smile and said, "It's nothing. I was just asking out of curiosity." He has just asked what a person should do if he fell in love with someone he shouldn't have last time, and now he's asking if I know someone with strange abilities. Is he trying to get rid of the other party and sever his friend's fantasies? Who's worth the risk? Hiring a killer is equivalent to murder, Klein mumbled silently, cutting a piece of fish without any fine bone and stuffing it in his mouth. Talem drew a breath and finished the food from his plate quickly. He wiped his mouth with a napkin and said, "Mike wants to hire you for a few days to be his bodyguard." Mike, the reporter from the Daily Observer? I remember his performance at the Golden Rose was brilliant. "What does Mike want to do now?" Klein asked. Talem spread out his hands and said, I'm not sure. He just casually mentioned this matter. It seems to have something to do with the interview. With an interview. He said that he will visit you the day after tomorrow. I hope you have the time to accept this commission. I can't be sure. Klein, who didn't know the details, didn't give an affirmative answer. Read what Dr. Z said? After assassinating the ambassador, Mr. A told his subordinates not to investigate who gave this mission because the Lord is going to have a descent soon and their plans are going to succeed, so there's no need. So technically you should have known. You're right, Dr. Z, but here's the cool thing. I should already know a lot of stuff that I've forgotten, so. At that moment, he heard a series of illusory pleas from a woman. "Miss Magician, is she prepared to sacrifice the money in exchange for the formula?" Klein picked up his speed, finished the rest of his food, then downed the black tea and went to the reception hall to get an attendant to open a lounge for him. After sealing the room with a wall of spirituality, he went above the grey fog and found his judgment was correct. And she was holding a sacrificial ritual. The reason for her delay was that she only had £370 on her, and she had to go to the bank to withdraw some of her savings. After a series of maneuvering, she saw the £450 vanish into an illusory door, and a formula appeared in her mind. Sequence 8, Trickmaster. I'm not reading the fucking formula. I don't give a shit. Finally, I've obtained it. It's been years. Force couldn't help pacing back and forth, feeling overjoyed and proud. Then, not feeling at ease, she took out a pen and a piece of paper, recording down the formula so she wouldn't forget and having to trouble Mr. Fool. If I don't meet someone who doesn't know the market well, then the main ingredient is at least £300, and I have $430 left. I still need to work hard to earn money. I'm gonna write a new book. Force suddenly felt that she was brimming with motivation, and she was no longer the procrastinator she had been before. 5 minutes to 8 on the Wednesday night, carrying all his savings, Klein entered the house where the gathering organized by the Eye of Wisdom. He was wearing a black robe with a hood over his face. He had £1,674 in cash and 5 gold coins. This guy's out of his fucking mind. He walked in with that much money. This is the new peak of my wealth. I wonder how much will remain after this gathering. Well, according to the title, not fucking much, brother. Every sequence 8, Trickmaster. Holy shit. Have you got Trickmaster? He is like jumping through like hurdles and shit. I'm imagining a dog who's being taught tricks. The apothecary didn't come this time. Is he caught up with something? Klein frowned slightly and sat in the same position as the previous few times. After a few minutes, Eye of Wisdom clapped and said, "Let's begin." Before he could finish his sentence, someone impatiently stood up. It was the shrouded lady who had the artisan backing her. "Is the friend who wanted to sell the briber formula here last time here?" "I'm here," Klein replied. The lady heaved a sigh of relief and said, "This time there's a Beyonder weapon that you need. Of course, you can also choose cash." What's the Beyonder weapon? Klein suppressed the eagerness in his heart. "This is a whip woven from the feathers of a holy sunbird. You can use it you can usually disguise it as a belt. When used, it will be covered with holy flames of light, and any undead monsters that are whipped by it will suffer great damage, and the weaker ones would be directly obliterated. It can be used to soak in liquids to create holy sun-holy water. that would reduce the spirituality's drain. Every use will decrease its durability by a month. Currently, it has 13 months of effective durability. Okay, a little over a year. If you are willing, you can exchange it for the Briber formula without paying any additional cash. Holy Sunbird. It's not the Sun Divine Bird. If it was the latter's feathers, of course I'd take it. Of course, only tail feathers would do. This can be used to concoct a Sequence 4 Unshadowed potion. Klein was quite satisfied with the weapon itself, but the problem was the use for 13 months. Every time he made the Holy Sun water, the durability would be reduced by a month. In time, he would have to replenish it with something similar. With this in mind, he looked to the Mr. Eye of Wisdom and said, "Can you describe in detail the brooch you introduced last time?" "Oh, write it down on paper and indicate the price that would satisfy you." He was afraid that the others would be interested in the brooch and thus raise the price, so he decided at the last second to get Eye of Wisdom to write it down. You can see there's one thing I really like about formulas is that pathways can be interchanged at high sequences. Usually they have similar supplementary ingredients. Oh, cool. For example, if one wants a certain animal's blood and wants its hair, sometimes even one with two... Oh, I see. Cool. I'm sure they can be important. The thing is, I'm not going to remember it. Like, at the start, I remember them because we got potion formulas so rarely that I remembered them. But now we're getting so many of them so frequently. Even if I read them, I'm never going to remember them. And I'm not committing those to notes because I'm never going to reference them. It just doesn't matter. Alright, Eye of Wisdom laughed and asked an attendant to bring him a piece of paper. While he was writing, the members of the gathering continued to trade. There were even some who were tempted as they asked about the price of the whip, only to receive an answer to wait. After a while, the Eye of Wisdom finished writing down the introduction and passed it to the attendant. When Klein unrolled it, he saw the words on the paper were written in print, preventing him from noticing anything special about them. Very careful. Sun Brooch. It can also be called Midsummer. It is considered a relatively weaker Grade 2 sealed artifact. With it acting as the center, it fills a 10-meter radius with pure warm and energy. Normal people will not be able to sense it, but undead spirits and monsters will suffer constant damage and will quickly evaporate like a pool of water under a blazing fireball. Even wraiths and shadows will have the same fate, albeit lasting a little longer. Oh, interesting. So it's like an AoE sort of thing. Okay, cool. That's not bad. In such an environment, the strength of powerful undead will be significantly weakened. Oh, yeah, that's good, but then it even hits his teammates, though, is the problem. I will only... Oh. Fuck, Klein, why would you... Oh, sorry, I was skimming ahead. Oh, he's so fucking stupid. It will be very difficult for the wearer to be possessed or corrupted by evil spirits or monsters. Allows for use of spells such as Holy Light Summoning, Holy Water Creation, Fire of Light, Cleave of Purification, Horror Immunity, Holy Oath, and Sun Halo. The downside is that as long as you carry it, you will never be able to feel cool. You'll always experience a terrible heat. Young man, don't underestimate this state. The hot and irritated, you will slowly fall into the abyss of losing control. You're telling me being hot you'll get so pissed off you'll lose control? I will only sell it for £2,000. Don't try to bargain. As you know, I'm not short on money. I'm a collector. It's much stronger than I imagined. Eye of Wisdom was very vague last time. Klein's heart skipped a beat. After a few seconds of thought, he looked at the woman with the artisan backing her and said, £900 in cash. The average price of a Sequence 7 potion was around 800. Deal, the lady said without hesitation. Shit. If I knew, I would have offered £1,000. Klein forced a smile. He was a man of his word, and without reneging his offer, he exchanged the prepared formula for £900 in cash. In an instant, his wealth soared to £2,574. It was enough to make a bachelor man live a pretty good life for the rest of his life. After Eye of Wisdom's appraisal, the lady looked at the formula once again in satisfaction. Sequence 7, Briber. After completing the transaction, Klein drew a deep breath, looked at the Eye of Wisdom and said, 2,000 pounds. I want that brooch. Eye of Wisdom chuckled and said, to be honest, I don't really want to sell it, but since I have 281, sun brooch isn't necessary to me. Besides, I already named my price, and reneging ain't my style. Wait 3 minutes, I'll get the sun brooch. All right, Klein replied, feeling both expectant and feeling the pinch. At this moment, the Beyonders in this activity room cast their gazes on him. A deal of 2,000 pounds barely appeared at this level of ordinary gathering, perhaps not even once a year or two. This sequence has to, I assume this has to correspond to this Bard sequence, no? Which other would it be? Klein could feel the greed and covetous feeling in their eyes. After a short silence, the transactions continued until Eye of Wisdom returned. In his open palm lay a dark golden brooch shaped like a sunbird. It was obvious that the Eye of Wisdom had some sweat on his face. So you're telling me between picking it up and bringing it to Klein, he was already like, fuck, like it's hot as shit in here. Oh my god. Okay, I can see how that would be annoying as fuck. Good lord. Bard pathway, which sequence? That's a good question. I don't, Klein gonna be a sweaty boy. Well, hey, he'll lose weight. It's fine. Bard. Let me see. So, Bard. So, either 8 or 7, I would assume. I would die if I was constantly above 30 Celsius. I agree. 8 or 7, I would assume. Light Suppliant or Solar High Priest, maybe? Although I guess it could also be Priest of Light. I don't actually know. No, Priest of Light seems too high. I think that's suspected to be like sequence 5 or 6 by Klein or something, right? Or no. Is that it? I don't know. No, that feels too high. So, oh, I guess Solar High Priest or Priest of Light, then I guess. I don't know. You can confirm it before you pay. The hooded Eye of Wisdom walked to Klein and handed him the brooch. Very generous. Just in general? Oh, thanks, username. I was under the impression that every artifact has to be from a sequence. Never mind. Okay, cool. Thank you. Very generous. Klein reached out to take it, but before he could examine it closely, he felt his surroundings become very hot. Even the wind felt as though it had been ignited. Once it entered his nose, it would spread to his lungs. At this moment, he seemed to have left the cold and humid backland, instead finding himself in the desert and wilderness, right in the middle of the northern continent. Hanging above him was the sun that radiated endless light and heat, and in his surroundings was the extremely dry and boundless yellow sand. Those ones lose their effect over time? Yes. Wait, I'm so curious. Could Klein theoretically like bob the brooch in his hand? So like he's holding it and he's really hot. He throws it up and for 2 seconds he's cool again, and then he catches it and he's hot again. And you just do that and feel okay, or like, like if you just throw it up and sort of catch it while walking, you might be okay. It makes me want to eat ice cream. Sweat slowly seeped out of Klein's forehead, but under the iron mask, the liquid couldn't fall freely. It could only stick on the spot. Through direct contact, he could feel the pure and warm radiating out, but the Beyonders around him were not affected in the slightest. After fixing the brooch in place, Klein released his spirituality and fused it with the dark golden surface. With a bloom, the sky filled with dancing dots of pure light as he received a great deal of information. This included how to use the spells in the sun domain with the help of the brooch, and most important of all were the tricks to injecting spirituality and corresponding activation incantations. One of them included providing the brooch with 2 seconds of spirituality, allowing it to summon a holy beam of light that descended from the sky to purify the undead and inflict certain damage on other targets. How funny would it be if Klein, while reading the instructions, kept injecting his spirituality and a light of fucking just comes down from the heavens and just attacks all the Beyonders around him? And he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. A continuous supply of spirituality for 5 seconds together with the word of the sun in ancient Hermes would create a small amount of holy sun holy water, which would exorcise evil spirits and drive away the cold and purify wraiths. In addition to this difference between strength and time intervals, the corresponding spells could be cast as well. Fire of Light was a sacred concentrated spell that appeared out of thin air via mere thought. A cleave of purification was an effective attack against wraiths. And it could also be used to augment bullets. Oh, so Cleave of Purification might be really handy against the person they're going to fight because he is a sequence 5 wraith, right? So that might be handy. Horror immunity allowed the wearer to no longer feel fear. That is a wild power. That is handy as fuck to have. Holy Oath was used to temporarily strengthen one's strength, agility, and fire damage, and holy damage via chanting the corresponding incantation in Hermes. This is literally like praising the sun in Souls games. In the and if you do it in the church, then you also get a buff. This is cool. Klein needs to accidentally use this when Merrick had his zombies though. He walks into the carriage with Merrick and Miss Bodyguard, and just gets nervous, injects his spirituality, and just fucking kills Merrick on the spot. Which aggroes Miss Bodyguard, and now he's fucked. Sun Halo targeted comrades who were within 20 meters of him. It could effectively boost their courage and purify the evil energies within their body. Not bad. Other than not being strange enough, it doesn't have too many flaws. It complements my magician abilities quite nicely. It's just a little hot. Klein's mind was filled with fantasies about him in short-sleeved clothes. That is a damn good artifact. That is really... I don't know if it's worth 2,000 pounds, but fuck, it might be, dude. He rolled up his robe, pulled out a stack of bills from inside his clothing, from inside his pocket. Together with the 900 pounds he had just received from the lady from the artisan, he counted 2,000 in bills before handing it to the Eye of Wisdom. After counting it thrice and confirming there was no mistake, Klein looked at his rapidly shrinking wallet, feeling both happy and sad. I meant the negatives are so small, the benefits are so much? Absolutely, yeah. That's a really good artifact. The money he had painstakingly saved had been reduced to 579 pounds and 5 gold coins. He just got the Sunbird brooch or some shit, which gives him access to a lot of powers from the sun pathway. He just spent 2,000 pounds on it. Oh, good lord. However, he had also obtained a second mystical item. The side effect was obviously fewer than that of the Master Key. It was a mystical item which was more outstanding, the Sun Brooch. The only drawback is it's just too hot. Klein reached out and touched his iron mask and nearly took it off to start fanning himself. With the reduction of his funds, Klein stopped considering the notion of purchasing anything else. He sat there quietly until the end of the gathering. Stimulated by the massive deal of 2,000 pounds, the gathering that night was very lively. For example, the whip woven by the feather of the sun holy bird was sold for 850 pounds. The Eye of Wisdom also made several purchases, buying an ancient book and a Beyonder ingredient. When leaving the gathering, the Eye of Wisdom surveyed the room and looked at Klein and said, "You shall be the first to go." Milosh, if it's okay, I'd prefer to just do one more. Because otherwise my night stream is gonna be long as fuck and I'm gonna be tired. If I can just do one more, then that'll put me at 46. So that'll put me at like enough that I still feel okay. If that's okay with y'all. Unless it leaves me in a really shitty place, then that's a separate issue. But Is he afraid that someone will rob me? Klein thanked him sincerely and walked out of the living room under the guidance of the attendant. He then impatiently took off his hooded robe and iron mask. He had already tried to use his spirituality to wrap and seal the sun brooch. It prevented it from constantly purifying the surroundings and prevented its existence from being discovered by other Beyonders, but the negative effects couldn't be weakened unless it was not on his person. In order to ensure my mental health, I will only use it when necessary. I can usually rely on purifying bullets and exorcism bullets. Klein left the gathering and took a long detour before arriving outside the Bravehearts bar. He entered, circled the area, and came out again and hired a carriage. Unsurprisingly, he quickly saw a figure in the black regal dress opposite him. Sharon asked in an ethereal voice, "Are you done with your preparations?" "Yes. You can choose the ambush location and time. Notify me once you have confirmed the details." Sharon looked at him and said, "Okay." Seeing that she was about to disappear, Klein added, Have Caspers prepare a box of explosives and bury them all over the planned battlefield." Sharon was silent for 2 seconds before she said, "Steve is also a demolitions expert." "No. My main purpose isn't to blast anyone. I just want to put on some fireworks." Sharon stared at him for a few seconds, then nodded. Witnessing her figure fading, Klein leaned his back against the wall and opened the window, letting the bone-piercing wind in, but he still felt hot. "Back on Earth, I hated the summer the most. I liked ice pops, ice creams, cold drinks, watermelons," he mumbled. "But this is a mystical item worth 2,000 pounds. Klein returned to Minsk Street. Klein walked slowly along the street with trees to Unit 15. When he passed Lawyer Jurgen's house, he looked inside and saw the gas lamp with a slight blue glow. Someone's home. Klein laughed as he sighed, his forehead constantly beaded with sweat. If a doctor saw Klein, they'd be like, hey, I think you might be having a fucking heart attack, homie. You're just sweating all the time. And it's like, it's cold as fuck outside. Early the next day, on a Thursday morning, Klein had just come out of the bathroom with a newspaper in hand when he heard the doorbell ring. "Who is it?" "Oh, Mike Joseph said he'll be coming, Tala mentioned Mike Joseph will be coming today." Amidst the tinkling bells, Klein came to the door and reached for the handle. The image of the visitor naturally appeared in his mind. He was about 30 years old with a black tweed coat and a matching top hat. He had sparse eyebrows, charming blue eyes, and a handsome mustache, but his skin was rather rough. He was none other than the reporter of the Daily Observer, Mike Joseph. "Good morning, Mike. Talum told me about you." Klein opened the door and greeted him. He hadn't hesitated to throw the sun brooch above the grey fog. Mike pulled his bow tie and said, "Sorry for disturbing you so early, but I have matters to deal with later." "I understand," Klein said politely. "Have you had breakfast? Would you like some toast?" Mike smiled. "I'm so sorry. That'd be nice of you. If it's possible, can I also have a cup of hot coffee? Milk would do too. I noticed that you ordered fresh milk." "All right," Klein smiled. He busied himself with the toast, poured the milk and a tin of butter and sat down without saying a word. Across from him, Mike was enjoying his breakfast without restraint, oblivious to the silence. Whew. Mike exhaled and put down his cup. "Mike, you want to hire me to protect you?" Mike set his knife and fork down and said, "Yes, about 2 days, Friday and Saturday, maybe even Sunday morning." "Who wants to hurt you?" Klein asked. Mike chuckled and said, "No, this is a form of proactive self-protection. The editor of the newspaper arranged for me to do an investigation in the East Borough, the dock area, and the factory district. It said that it's sponsored by some church or aristocrat. And most private organizations have certain connections in Eastborough, don't they? or sorry. As you know, gangs run rampant in Eastboro. There are thugs everywhere, and there are people who are willing to betray conscience to scrounge a meal. I need a bodyguard who's good at fighting and shooting. Most detectives have certain connections in Eastboro, don't they? I don't. I just rely on mysticism and, deductions to crack cases. Klein thought for a moment and said, but I might not have the time in the next few days. I have to see when Miss Sharon will be taking action. Mike cleared his throat and said, I've already applied for £10. This protection mission will amount to £10, even if nothing happens. Klein let out a chuckle and said, Mike, I'm serious. Tomorrow at this time, come after breakfast to look for me. If I have availed myself, I will take the mission. If I'm really busy, then I'll introduce you to some other detectives that are also good at fighting and shooting. For example, Stewart and Kazlana. Klein thought in his mind. Mike finished the remaining toast and said, that won't be an issue. He's just wanting to be stylish. I'm going to just do my dailies. Yeah, of course. After breakfast, Klein watched the journalist leave his home and admired the sight of the freezing rain through the oriel window. The passing carriages and pedestrians, the dark sky and the colorful umbrellas. Finally, a normal mission. It involves neither Beyonders nor does it have anything to do with finding cats or catching adulterers. It's a pity this isn't a commission regarding a murder case or something. Otherwise, I would definitely be able to experience what it feels like to be a true detective. There is always one truth. There's always only one truth. Well, that's like the dumbest thing Klein has ever said. Klein's thoughts wandered aimlessly as he felt an inexplicable sense of carefreeness. If not for the fact that he was still worried about the situation regarding Sharon and Merrick, he planned to relax completely. Visit all kinds of museums, buy a ticket to a large theater, listen to a few operas and musicals, enjoy the delicacies of various nations that Backlund had gathered. Well, I'm a casual tourist, a lonely gourmet. Klein gave a self-deprecating laugh, turned around and walked towards the sofa intending to look through the newspaper. Suddenly, he noticed that a slip of paper had appeared on the coffee table. The handwriting was elegant and reserved. Look at that, he even compliments her handwriting. Tonight at 10 o'clock, we'll meet at the back door of the Bravehearts bar. Klein was stunned for a moment. He turned his head to look outside the window and said, "It's finally starting." Oh, there's always only one truth. That's a catchphrase from Detective Conan. Oh, I didn't know that. Cool. That's a case. Oh shit! Nice, Romero. Okay, give me 1 second. I just need to run to the restroom really quickly, and then we'll finish the last chapter, and we'll get and I'll get out of here. All right, give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna adjust the title, and then I'll look through chat really quick. Jesus Christ, that is a long sentence. Jesus. All right. Yes, what did I miss? The answer might shock you. I have a friend who has OCD. It's usually under control, but sometimes acts up, and she can't stand odd numbers, and I didn't want to make it difficult for her, so I started leasing all emojis in 2 or 4s. Later became a habit. That's cute. I think not 100% sure though. I haven't watched Detective Conan since I finished like volume 1, volume 4. I see. You will finish last chapter and then look at the artwork. Oh yes, fuck yes, Milos. I will look at the art. I promise. You know, in this community, when someone says I have a friend, Conan movies are peak. I have never seen a single millisecond of Detective Conan. Well, that's not true. I've seen the memes, but that's it. Oh god. All right. A magician before going on stage. 10 o'clock at night, in the alley by the back door of the Braveheart bar. Just like the previous time, Klein, in his black double-breasted frock coat and the matching top hat, had merely circled the bar once again before he walked to the nearest street as though he was on a stroll. Just as he walked out of the alley, a carriage stopped in front of him. Behind the glass window was Merrick's pair of brown eyes, which were still suppressing any signs of malicious intent. I binge Detective Mo. Nice. Just as he was walking out of the alley, a carriage mysteriously stopped in front of him. Behind the glass... nope, already read that. Klein pressed down his top hat, holding his sturdy cane in hand, calmly boarding the carriage as if he had hailed himself. As if he had hailed it himself, he sat down and straightened his bow tie like a gentleman attending a banquet. That outfit isn't suitable for a battle. Merrick was wearing a white shirt, black vest, and tights sized him up a few times and frowned. It was obvious that he still had some doubts regarding Klein's strength, but had chosen to trust Sharon. Klein smiled and said, "My beyonder powers are different from yours. Our fighting styles are different too. This type of clothing will not affect me negatively in any way. It even suits me quite well. For example, it has a lot of pockets, and they can be used to store all sorts of things, so as to avoid taking the wrong thing out when in a hurry and losing my life due to a laughable mistake." As he spoke, he took out the remaining 3 sedatives from a strewn concealed pocket They were the special sedative concocted by the apothecary. Just as he finished his sentence, a figure quickly outlined herself on the window of the carriage. A figure wearing a regal black dress. None other than the Sequence 5 Beyonder of the Mutant Pathway. Wraith Sharon. "You explain too much." Sharon looked at Klein and said in an ethereal voice, "Not natural enough." "I just want to get into the act," Klein laughed dryly. It's probably because I'm a bit nervous." Without waiting for Sharon to speak again, he handed the 3 sedatives to Merrick. Find a chance to drink it yourself. I'm sure you're more experienced than I am. You won't drink it too early or too late. Too much or too little." Merrick looked at the sealed and transparent glass tube and said, 2.5. Any more and I'll really be sedated, and I won't do anything for a little bit." "Very good." Klein praised and looked at Sharon. "Have you guys decided on the ambush spot?" Sharon nodded. "We're on our way there." She didn't directly reveal the intended location of Klein. Very prudent. Very careful. Klein thought for a moment and said, "Will you be hurt by a purification?" "Yes. As a zombie when I'm in my spirit state," Sharon explained succinctly. "In other words, when a Sequence 5 Wraith is in their physical state, the purification effect wouldn't be effective." Wait, what? "In other words, when a Sequence 5 Wraith is still in their physical form, the purification effects wouldn't be effective? Didn't it say it would be effective? That she would be hurt? What?" "Hey, Ark. No worries, man. When in spirit..." Oh, okay. What about demon hunting? As though they were, as, oh my god, as they were dealing with Beyonders of the same pathway, Sharon didn't hide anything from him. Demon hunting bullets will deal damage to our bodies, likewise for exorcism, to both our bodies and spiritual bodies, but it wouldn't be fatal. Klein curled his lips and smiled. I understand. That's because she is in a wraith form? I see. He pondered for a moment, then after some deliberation asked, Do you feel the power of purification and exorcism now? No, Merrick replied. Very good. The spirituality cage, modified from a wall of spirituality, is indeed able to isolate the effects of the sun brooch. But I'm so hot. Klein secretly sighed and confirmed. Wraith, Steve, Zombie, Jason, and Werewolf Tyre. Do they have any mystical items or Beyonder weapons besides the Scarlet Lunar Corona? We don't know, Merrick pinched his glabella, a bit irritated. With the battle at hand, he couldn't help but be stirred by these emotions while suppressing his maliciousness and desires. Sharon listened silently and replied without any hint of discomposure. When influenced by the Scarlet Lunar Corona, Jason and Tyre will be in a rather fervent state. Even if they have mystical items, they would lack the reason to use them, unless it's something passive. But to a werewolf, their claws are their Beyonder weapons. Same for Tyre and Jason. It can tear through steel and comes with venom. Klein's eyes darted as he nodded. Alright, I have no more questions. Yes, definitely clip that. In the night, with few pedestrians, the carriage sped across the street, its wheels going over puddles of water from time to time, splattering fine dirt onto itself. After 10 minutes or so, Merrick had the zombie driver stop the carriage. Klein looked through the glass window and saw a dark, dilapidated building. Not far away, the sound of running water could be heard. This is the West Balam dock that has been abandoned for a year and is about to be rebuilt. Our planned ambush point will be around its warehouses, Merrick introduced. Oh, this is in another warehouse district. I feel like this is gonna remind us. I feel like this is gonna be like a sort of a callback to the warehouse fight with Bieber, where there was a Sequence 7 magician, and now there's a Sequence 7 magician. It's just that Clown is that magician now. That's cool. The abandoned West Balam dock. If an accident really were to happen, the Tussock River would be the best escape route. According to my previous survey, there's a Lever Cathedral about 2 meters northwest of here, one belonging to the Church of God of Steam and Machinery. Klein quickly recalled his surroundings. Justin Bieber? Yes, exactly. I swear I've always called him Bieber. I actually can't remember what his first name is. I've just always called him Bieber. He disembarked from the carriage, tidied up his clothes in a leisurely manner, and with his cane in hand, followed Sharon and Merrick into the dock, which awaited renovations. Badoon. After walking for about 5 minutes, Ray Bieber. Yes, thank you. They came to an open space surrounded by several warehouses. The soil here was dark brown and withered weeds lying everywhere. A wooden chest quietly sat in the dark corner. Those are the explosives you asked for, Merrick pointed. Klein immediately nodded and said, Aren't you afraid that a tramp might steal them? Sorry, I scrolled down too quickly and lost my fucking place. My zombies are sleeping underground here. If anyone enters, they will scare them away. Merrick pointed to a few spots. Avoid them when you bury the explosives. No problem, Klein smiled. Will my purification and exorcism hurt you guys? No. Hurt your guys? No, they're the equivalent to corpses when in deep slumber. And there's also a layer of thick soil shielding them. After looking around, Sharon became talkative for once. Oh my god. Oh, Miss Bodyguard. Stay here and make your preparations. We'll go and lure the enemy over. It won't take more than 30 minutes. Please make use of the time. After your preparations, hide in the warehouse. Don't be in a hurry to make your move. Just be patient. No matter how dangerous the situation, treat it as normal. No matter how when I become weak and Scarlet Lunar Corona appears, you can use that eye to search for Steve and launch a sudden attack on him. I will use my mystical item to complement you. Klein listened attentively, chuckled, and said, "A very simple plan. The simpler the plan, the more effective it is," Sharon replied. Merrick pinched his forehead and said, "And Steve isn't a fool. If any problem arises in a complicated plan, it will lead to complete disaster." After they finished their exchange, Sharon vanished and Merrick quickly departed from the dock. After watching them leave, Klein took out a small square metal box from his pocket. Its surface was covered in a thin film of spirituality. This was the spirituality case that had been modified from Wall of Spirituality. What the fuck did I just read? I feel like I just said spirituality 7 times. It could, to some extent, isolate the outside world from the effects of particular mystical items, but it couldn't abate the negative effects they had on the possessor. Of course, sealed artifacts were too powerful or too strange were definitely not something that a spirituality cage could deal with. They required a special sealing environment that was specially designed for it. 4 warehouses overgrown with weeds. The ground is really muddy from the rain earlier. Klein took out a piece of paper and shook it. The paper quickly became taut and as hard as an iron plate. Klein held the note and dug a shallow hole in the middle of the open ground. Klein buried the small square iron box in his hand. There was a thin layer of soil between it and the outside world. Next, he took out the explosives from the wooden box and buried them in different corners and in different warehouses. He buried the remaining explosive sticks near the center. After finishing all this, he took out his revolver and adjusted the ratio of the bullets again. 3 purifying, 2 exorcism. Klein put away the revolver in his underarm holster. Klein tidied his clothes, walked to a gap between the 2 warehouses, threw a paper figurine there, and stood above some buried explosives. He examined his surroundings again and took out another square metal box. He removed the spirituality cage on its surface and took out the golden sunbird-shaped brooch, solemnly wearing it on his left chest. Klein let out a breath, left the place, circled the exterior, and threw in some inconspicuous items, burned away the used piece of paper. When he returned, he climbed to the top of one of the warehouses and hid in the shadows. Reaching out his hand, he counted and confirmed the various charms, extracts, and herbal powders. He touched the iron cigar case and snapped his fingers. The paper figurine he had left he had left between the 2 warehouses stood up and transformed into a gentleman wearing a double black-breasted frock coat and a silk half top hat. He was also holding a cane. The gentleman's position was rather remote and hidden, making it difficult for anyone who came in from the outside to notice him. With his stand-in present, Klein's figure disappeared from where he stood. However, his vision wasn't affected in any way, and he could clearly see the road that led to the clearing. Even though he had made preparations and had experienced many battles, Klein was still a little afraid at that moment. No matter how good his performance, it could still be seen through. Furthermore, the enemy was a Sequence 5 wielding a mystical opponent, and there was also a Sequence 6 and 7. In this state, is this the state every magician is in before he goes on stage? Klein took a silent breath, suppressing his emotions and the heat in his body. That night, the crimson moon constantly obscured by the clouds, there was only a glimmer of light in the clearing. Before long, Klein saw 3 figures rapidly approaching. One in front, one in the middle, and one at the back. That's kind of crazy, eh? It's a Sequence 5 Beyonder with a sealed artifact. It's not quite as strong as like Creeping Hunger, but like this person wouldn't be too far away from the level of the Rear Admiral. Like again, I know the Rear Admiral had Creeping Hunger, which is a really strong thing, which is a really strong artifact, but like he probably wouldn't be too far from this person at this point. And now Klein is strong enough to be able to at least participate in this fight. And back when the Rear Admiral was introduced, it was like, okay, Klein was like, holy shit, I can't even think about this guy. I'd get fucked. This is crazy. I thought the Rear Admiral was... Oh, was he a 6 wielding? Oh, yes, he was a Wind Blessed. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Like on the level of Crescent Sesamir. Yes, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah. The Rear Admiral was a Wind Blessed. He was 6. Yes, you're right. Sorry. So this person is stronger still, and now Klein is in a position to be able to participate in this fight and like and contribute, which is wild. It's a huge turn of events. All right, here we are. The artwork channel. Some Audrey art. Milos, how come you're sending Audrey art? What the fuck? Klein prepared all his life for this moment. Yeah, something like that. This is very cute. Her hair has like hints of green in this, though, I will say. That's not necessarily a bad thing, by the way, but yeah, it's just... Man, this is done so cute. There's a lot of redness around her eyes, though. Interesting. Whoa. That's really cool. This is... it's very green in the manhwa as well. Oh. That's so cool. What the fuck? Wow. I assume this represents, like... So this is like her aristocratic side, that like the upkeep she has to do, like her image and stuff. This, with Susie, I'm gonna guess is like what she's balancing with, like her Beyonders stuff, I guess? I don't know. But like, the spectator back here feels more like about her Beyonder power. So what's this? I'm so curious. Obviously the dragon here, because her pathway is called the Pathway of the Dragon or some shit, because it came from the... Yeah, I know, the dragon at the top is so cool. It looks so dope. Susie is just being herself, not in high society. Oh, social and private life. I see. Oh, I see. Oh, social life, private life, and then her actual private life, and like being the overseer. Cool. That is really well, too. Like, that is beautifully done. Social, private, secret, I see. This is... Audrey looks really young here. Like, she looks like she's, like, 12, 13, 14. Like, she looks really young here. It's done real... Like, her eyes look so beautiful. This brooch... She always has this brooch in, like, every photo ever. Like, this is really cute. Oh, that's really well done, too. My lord. That's a really nice umbrella. What the fuck? Is that an umbrella? I assume that's an umbrella. Or it could be something else. I don't actually know. Like, that dress is so beautifully done. Like, this is so good. What the fuck? Just wait for the Doma. She looks... Audrey looks young as well. Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, in the trailer, she looks really young. That's true. Yeah, sorry, username. I'll check out the art you sent as well. In a little bit. Like, she looks so much older here than here. Like, here, she looks like she's, like, 13. And here, she looks like a full-grown adult. Like, this... And again, that's just artist interpretation. You're free to draw what you like. They're all done really nicely, by the way. Like, not to shit on anyone or say like one's better than the other or whatever. We get season 2 onwards with the Manhwa peak. Yes. This is really well done. Man, all of these have been really well done, but this one has been by far my favorite. This is so good. That's really cute. That's really cute. This is really cute. I love this. Right now, the Tarot Card Club age order is like Derek, Audrey, Klein, Forrest, Alger. How old is Forrest? The Manhwa designs are really nice too. Yeah, I just really like the art style in general. '23. Okay. Late 20s. Interesting. Forrest is 1 year older at most. Okay. Like, look at this. Like, again, really cute, but she looks like a literal child. She looks like a baby. She looks so cute. Did you notice that this volume 2 one thing keeps happening? The pace is much better. Oh, yeah, definitely. One thing or another keeps... Yeah, I was just talking... Because I just mentioned this yesterday. That I thought I was in like a lull in the story, and I was like, oh, I think it's going to be quiet for a little bit. Immediately after, we're fighting a Sequence 5 Beyonder. What the fuck? Like, it doesn't seem like there's been any quiet, because like so much had happened in the last little bit. I was like, okay, the author's probably going to slow it down a little bit to, you know, give us a little bit of time to soak in everything before we get started again. No, fuck it. We're right back to more shit. This one is, again, artist choice, but like I feel like Audrey, like the eyes could, like they need some work, but like in general, like everything else is really well done. The hair is done beautifully, the river in the background, the grass, all that brooch, all that stuff's really nice. I feel like around the eyes could use a little bit more work. But again, I also understand that eyes are like the hardest part to get down because they like make or break a thing, so I totally get it. This is the first, this first volume, the first half of volume 4 has the most irritating pace. Interesting. All right, well, I'll let you know when I get there in 4 years. Good Lord. And back to the start, right? Yeah. Klein holding his greatest love. Monies! Give me the money! I'm not even clicking on that. Some Sharon art. My queen. My queen. This is really well done. Volume 3 is longer than volume 2? Oh god. Oh my god. Volume 3 is not long? Volume 3 is a breeze? Okay. Volume 3, it's fun. You won't notice when Volume 3 ends. Volume 3 is shorter than Volume 2. Okay, great. Okay, good. Volume 3 is going to be Volume 3 is going to be special for me. I just know it. So this one's really cute. The cage signifying like prisoner, I would assume. Her black regal dress, all that. Just always done really well. Just lying out. Unhinged, how's it going, man? Well, that doesn't make any sense, though. Oh, that's so cute. Again, like Miss Bodyguard or Sharon looks like a baby here, so I don't particularly love this. Like her face looks so young. Her face looks like this would be like a 11-year-old. This is a child. But like the dress is so beautiful. What the fuck? That rose feels like it's not even, yeah, that's got to be a real rose, because if that's drawn, that is the most crazy thing I've ever seen. Oh, that's really nice. That's really good. It's supposed to look like a doll. The most Victorian dolls look like porcelain cherubs, let's be honest. What is a cherub? A winged angelic. Oh, like a winged beast. Oh, I see. Oh, maybe. Oh, I just remembered who she reminds me of. Oh, I knew she reminded me of someone, but I could never recall it. She reminds me of the doll from Bloodborne. Well, I mean, that's not a great picture to compare with. Hold on. Like, okay, tell me you guys see that. Oh my god, that's who she reminds me of. Thank you. I don't know. Thank you, FQ. Okay, that's what it was. And the doll was based off an actual character. I can't remember her name. She was based off an actual hunter a while back. That's who she reminded me of so much. Like, okay, here in particular, like, look at that. That's like a 1-to-1. That's literally a 1-to-1. Lady Maria, yes. Lady Maria? Lady Marie? She was like a great hunter back in the day or whatever, but yeah, it's been a while since I've caught up on my Bloodborne lore, so I'm not exactly top of mind. As always, oh, that's really well done. The candles in particular, the crimson light. Oh god, this is so well done. The gray fog. Oh, that's really cool. And some For's art, because Milos couldn't just let us not. He couldn't just let us just do Miss Bodyguard art. That would be crazy. Sorry, Miss Bodyguard and Audrey. No, that couldn't be possible. It has to be both. Fours. This is cool. It's done in an interesting style. It's done so hazily. Like, I'm actually having a hard time figuring out where everything is. It's so interesting, but it's still really well done. Lady Maria. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's so cute. That's so good. Did you really think there would not be For's art after you read a chapter in which she explained her life story? Touche. Fair enough. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's really well done. It's funny, Sequence 9 of Sharon's pathway is prisoner, and yet For's Sequence 9 lets her pass through walls. This is really cute too. Again, sort of baby-faced here, but really well done. Sort of walking through a wall, like she's... I assume this is like her in the spirit world or some shit. Because she can pass through with that bracelet or whatever. Because she has the powers of a traveler. I don't know which pathway a traveler is, but... Oh wow, that is really cute. That is so well done. Look at the little scarf around her. Oh my god, this is so well done. That butterfly. Oh my god, this is so well done. Official art for card event. Ah, cool. This just makes her look like an alcoholic, but I'm here for it. I don't know why they exist, but here's some Audrey X4's art. You know exactly why it exists. You know exactly why it exists, Milosh. I'm not a fan of that art style, but it does look good. Yeah. It's very... how I sit while watching the stream. You sit like this? Fours on a minor? Yeah. She's not beating the allegations, man. Makes her look like Force is the salted fish. Mike Joseph? My lord. This guy looks like he should be under 24-hour surveillance. That mustache, this guy's up to some nefarious activities, I'm telling you. With a mustache like that, no one's safe. What are they gonna do? Lock her up? Is there no I can't remember what those are called, but the fucking handcuffs in One Piece that negate their powers or whatever, sea salt handcuffs or some shit or whatever. Is there no such thing for Beyonders? As you guys know, I love chibi art, so this is very cute. If bro. What? I already talk shit on Roselle constantly. How much more can I say? Oh, that is adorable. That is actually adorable. That is so cute. Derek, he looks so cute. Oh my god, he's just a little baby. Alder, looking menacing as always. Alder is constantly aura farming. Love this dude. Great guy. Aw, that's so cute too. Oh my god, this is so cute. That's really well done. Mike Joseph. Yeah, I don't know. Keep him under 24-hour surveillance. He's up to something. That mustache? Alder's like Piccolo? Absolutely, yes. Yeah, keep this guy under surveillance. He's giving off some bad vibes. I don't like it. Jurgen? Oh, he looks like a sophisticated gentleman. Alright, look at that. This is a dude I trust. Minecraft villager? What? He knows. Oh, yes he did, Dr. Z. Yes he did. Good point. That's a distinguished gentleman right there. Look at him. He's trustworthy. You can trust this guy to bail you out of jail every time. What a guy. All right. Oh, username I'm sure sent me a whole bunch of shit too. Whoa, that's really well done. That's really well done. I assume Klein, Benson, Melissa, I guess? He looks like a young Benson if his hairline didn't escape him. What in the actual fuck is this? I don't know what this is. Oh, because my face probably covered it up, didn't it? Oh, yeah. Sorry. Hold on. I would assume Klein, Benson, Melissa, I would assume. I don't know what the fuck this is. Yeah, there's water here, but what are these tentacle-looking things that are over here? Oh, Berserk Sea, Sonya Sea or some shit? I don't know. Just atmospheric art. Yeah, no worries. Not any more specific? Okay. Of course, we've seen this before. Seen that one as well. I saw this one. This seems like a euphemism, by the way. I don't know. This just feels dirty. I don't know. This one I have. This used to be on the overlay. Oh, that's really cute too. Done bussin', yeah, exactly. He really put his heart into it. This is really cute. Very, very abstract. I like it. This one I've seen as well. Very well done. It's definitely intentional. I think so. Cannibalistic bust. Done every time. Yeah. Hold on. This is done every time he gets to see one of his co-workers die, because he's like, yes, I get stronger, baby. Oh, God. Yes, I've seen the screenshot of this. This has got to be Backland, right? Because this feels way too big to look like it'd be Tenjin, so this has got to be Backland, I assume. Look at the art. I sent these. You've already seen already, so you can scroll to the art at the bottom. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Okay, this one's really cute. This one's really, really cute. Even Don would probably have had forgotten how he had become 900. This is... That's really cute too. Wait, what? What did I... On the layout you use when reading, scroll that art. I see. I'm sorry. That's what you meant. Oh, I see. I'm stupid. Apologies. Yeah, sounds good, username. I gotta figure. Okay, so I don't mind doing that. I can do what I have done. Sorry, not here. I can do what I've done here at the top right with the rotating tarot cards. I just don't know if that'll be. Do you guys feel like that would be too much movement if I have two GIFs, one at the right and one at the bottom? That's my only concern. Like, I thought still images might be better still like, because one GIF on the side is fine. Several I thought would be like so fucking like mind rotting. That was my only concern. But if you guys think that look okay, I can give it a shot. I mean, I can make the thing, and then if it doesn't work, we can just and then if it doesn't, just make it slower. Way too much movement. I don't know how to start a stream. I said it already looks so busy, might as well go full send. Well, that's the thing. My guess, okay, my hope is that if I replace the bottom two images with one image, it'll make it not look so busy. That's the hope. Because again, I agree probably that this is too busy. But if that's the case, then... Okay, hold on. What if I try something like this? I don't know if this would work. Hold on. Okay. So I do that. I then... Hold on. I'm just curious. What if I do something like this, so as to make it less busy, and then nope, fuck's sakes. And then at the bottom, I make it one image instead of two. How would that be? Put us chat in the galaxy. I could, but then my problem with the galaxy is then that's basically still another image, right? So it makes it feel like so busy. But then this way, and then at the bottom, I just have, fuck's sake, is it 8? No, 9. So if I do that, and I just do... And I do something like that. How is that? Is that like, does that still feel too busy? Obviously I'm gonna move the text around to make it look a little bit better or something. Like maybe this is a little bit better, because I agree it looked too busy to me too, but I was kind of just fiddling around with it, and I figured I'd try it, and then I can get feedback from you guys and then adjust accordingly. But like maybe something like this is better. I don't know. Make an image to see what I have to. I think this can work. Okay, no worries. I'll keep this. I have everything set in place already, so I can just readjust this back, and then kind of looks nice. Okay, yeah. Maybe this is not bad. I'll figure out something to do with the... Right, that's not bad. I really like the bottom art with the hand. Yeah, I thought the hands one thing looked nice. That's why I had that there. But sorry, let me... Okay, while username is doing that, let's just continue with the art really quick. Wide images, you can scroll at the bottom. Okay. In fairness, I get that that's written there, but it's written really vaguely, okay? I felt like I felt like we're both to blame, kind of, okay? Good morning, students. I will be following up with your progress next week. I hope for your cooperation. How do I get... What the fuck is this? Let's do it above this. Like, this is really cute. All these, I sent you've seen most before. Seen that one. Seen that one. Oh, this is really cute. I don't think I've seen this. This is very cute. What if for every stream, one of the mods gave an artwork and you catches the mood best and use it on screen? Yeah, I can definitely do that. Like, again, swapping the images out, as long as the images roughly fit the ratio and I don't have to do a whole bunch of fucking fiddling around with the ratio and stuff, it's not bad. But I guess the kind of problem is if they give me an image ahead of time, it might have spoilers. I don't fucking know. Is it to older women? Yoshikage Kira? Where did you see? What, Kira? Oh, this is... Oh my god, this is so cute. Susie looks adorable here. What the fuck? She looks so cute. Oh my god, Ari looks fine too. Oh my god, Susie looks so good. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love this. Oh my god. I've seen this. Oh, I've not seen this either. This is really cute too. This is great. Yoshikage Kira, the guy with the... Oh, JoJo's... Oh, I see. Did he have a hand fetish? I haven't seen... I saw that... It's been a while since I've seen it. Hand fetish? What the fuck? Seen this one? Look, she looks fantastic. I have not seen this. Wow, that's cool. This is like... this reminds me a lot of... I didn't say Death Note. Yeah. Yeah, no, I got that it was JoJo's, but this is real. This reminds me. I feel like there's an image of DMC5 that this reminds me of. I might be making it up. I don't know. Or is it like... Yeah, I'm just remembering. Bro, how do you know Ishikari Kira not... Bro, I saw it so long ago! Come on! Come on! Why are you guys hassling me so much? What the fuck? Oh, this is really cute too. This is nice. I don't know who this is though. Who the fuck is this? This... Oh, is this Klein in the Topaz room? No. Wait, no, that doesn't feel right. That's like his main character thing. Wasn't he also a serial killer? Am I misremembering this? Was he not the serial killer? What do you mean his main client in the Topaz room? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you. Bro, his main character trait was that he was a serial killer. This is really cool. Backlund. Since we you still on my mind. Average the goat art, nice. Average Fours art collection. He killed people for the I don't remember that, dude. I just remember he was a serial killer who was about to win, and then at the end my goat Jotaro shows up behind him and is like, oh, that's a nice watch. And then he grabs his hand and he goes, now that I have a closer look, that watch is dog shit, and then beats the shit out of him. Serial killers, it's not an occupation. It's not a job. It's not like a 9 to 5 you do. What are you talking about? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Who has this? Just reminding you of this peak art. Here's the chibi artist saying from before. My god. Dude. Thank you guys. Yeah. Okay. You want to tell us something? You do serial killing as a job. Alright. Okay. So currently what I have it set to is this. We'll do some... I'm going to move around my video a little bit to get it looking a little bit better. I feel like there's a way I can make this look better. I don't know how, but I'm sure there's a way, so I will try to figure that out. But for the moment I think this looks pretty decent. And then of course username will here and click on replies. What? Of course, Simp have this. Am I a prophet? This code is very normal and most of her. Did you send something? Am I missing something? Alright, whatever. Okay, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. We'll okay. Yes. So I'll leave that there for the moment, and then username, if you send me what you have in mind, I can try adjusting and see if that see how people like that too. Okay, yes, it's yeah, no, it's 2:30. I gotta head out too. Thank you so much everyone for another fantastic stream. Hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and hope you can join in 8.5 hours to get up to 255. Apparently something's supposed to happen there. I don't fucking know. In the DMS, the messages you read were applying to specific arts. Yeah, I got that username. We can no, that's it username. We're gonna, yes, that's it. Thank you so much, guys.